Morning, everybody. And you were one mic drag away from being a Moulton there. What the hell were you just go do dishes?
No, I was putting ice in my Yeti.
Holy Toledo. And Mike catches everything.
Does it? Okay. Well, that's good to know now.
It is a loud microphone. I actually turned you down a touch. Not used to that. Only thing I don't like about this board is that I don't have actual knobs for the two computers that are plugged into it. It's just automatic because it's a line feed.
Yeah,
so
I got you.
So it is what it is. It's the same every morning, DTW. I'm a black coffee drinker.
I just got water. No caffeine this morning. Not going to have any trouble catching up on sleep later today. Tuesdays are. I mean, yesterday I was working from 7 to 11 p.m. 7 a.m. to 11 p.m.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Good morning, top of the morning to you, Miller and Moulton. On this Wednesday morning, Trent Bally sitting in for David. He'll be with us the rest of the week. David, we'll see if he's back on Monday or not. TBD at this point. But right now, it's, if it were, Trent and Mark and Trent, I don't know what the hell we'd call this show because Miller and Bally and Miller sounds like crap. I've got to be honest with you. But good morning, Trent. I know you had a long day. I've got to say, I don't have a lot of sympathy for you because my duties have doubled on what I'm doing, not to mention I got a daughter to take care of. So when you tell me you're tired, I laugh at you. But good morning, Trent.
I don't blame you whatsoever, and I don't need your sympathy. I get it. You guys also told me not to get into this business because it's largely a thankless job. But I am doing great this morning. Feeling a lot better than I was throughout the night. So I'm ready to kick the show off, Mark. Let's go. Lots to talk about today.
Well, the Stanley Cup started last night, and it was a wild game. It really was. And, well, Vegas doing what Vegas has been doing. They win again, and historic in doing so because road teams entering game one of the Stanley Cup final were 0-55 when down multiple goals at any point in game one. Well, if you watched last night, you know that Vegas was down 2-0 early. And they rallied to win 5-4. I've got to say, and I'm rooting for Carolina. Full disclosure. I think Carolina, I picked them to win the series in 6. I do not think this series is over in one game. Carolina lost game 1 against Montreal and came back and won 4 straight. Now, the difference is that this Vegas decor seems to be better in getting the puck and moving the puck and not allowing Carolina to establish a forecheck. But I was texting with a buddy during the game last night when it was 4-4, and he said, I don't know if I've ever seen a game in which there's been 8 goals, and all of them were he didn't really say bad goals, but he just kind of said avoidable goals.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of mistakes on both sides. Every goal seemed to be because of a mistake. Started very quickly with Carolina scoring less than 30 seconds into the game. And Carolina built a 2-0 lead, and you're like, here we go again. And one of the great parts of the broadcast last night was the mic'd up John Tortorella early in the game when he was just telling his players, hey, we got a lot of time left in this game. And that was at 2-0. No more East-West. No more East-West. That's killing you. Be patient. We'll get our chances. And boy, did they ever. Thomas Hertl with the goal late in the game. And Vegas has a 1-0 lead. But the point I was going to make really about not rooting for Vegas, and I'm being a little happy that Vegas got that one last night, because how the hell do they call an icing on Vegas that led to the tying goal by Carolina when the Vegas player was clearly going to win the race to the puck? He had 2 steps on the Carolina defenseman. And yes, the puck was shot in before the red line. But if you're going to beat them to the puck, they will blow the icing or wave the icing off. They did not. I was texting everybody about that play because on the ensuing faceoff, Godson Spare scores, makes it 4-4. So a little bit of justice for Vegas last night. But look, I know this series isn't going to have the ratings of the NBA Finals. The NBA Finals are going to do numbers that we've not seen this century. They are. Trust me. The semifinals, or the conference finals, rather, with the Spurs and OKC did numbers we had not seen in a long, long time. Since 2016, or I believe, was the last time they were close to that in an OKC Warriors final. So this basketball series is going to do big numbers. So for hockey to compete, it's got to go deep. If they get games like that every night, they'll get an audience. That was an exciting game.
That's the thing about game one. My biggest takeaway, Mark, was if that's any indicator of what we have to come, just 2 teams trading blows, 2 teams that at various points in the game felt comfortable about where they were at in terms of, yeah, we're going to win this game. And a terrific finish, too. It was a fun one, and you're exactly right. If the NHL wants to capitalize on this, they need it to go deep, because this can be a very interesting series. I know it's not the Stanley Cup final that they wanted, given who was in the Western and Eastern Conference finals, but hey, you roll the balls out, man. A 1-goal game and a 9-goal total game for game one. If that's going to set the tone, I'm here for it.
No doubt. And Vegas with the win. So it will be now on Carolina. And Rod Brindamore was pretty candid after the game, talking about the mistakes that his team made that was very unlike the way Carolina plays. They had defensive errors throughout. Both of these teams pride themselves on their defensive play, on their defensive zone play. And neither team was very good. Vegas early, Carolina throughout, but they were able to take advantage of something that you don't normally see. And if Carolina is going to play like this defensively and not being able to get a forecheck going, they're going to have to find a way to score in the power play. And they have not been doing that throughout the playoffs. So we shall see what game 2 has in store. We'll talk more about the hockey today, probably a lot more tomorrow on the show as we get ready for game 2, trying to line up a guest for you for tomorrow. Pretty good show lined up today. We will get into the NBA Finals. Keith Smith will join us on the show in the 7 o'clock hour. Does a fantastic job covering the league. So we'll break down the final with him. We'll get Trent's take on some of the matchups in the final. This is his wheelhouse. He loves the NBA. The NBA final is here. We have different opinions on who's going to win. Trent is taking San Antonio. I am taking the New York Knicks, but we shall see about that. Also, Seth Everett pulling a Joan Rivers, and I'm not calling Seth a girl, but I go back old school. Before Trent would remember, there was this little Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. See, no one else really has guest hosts. They just run repeats now. But Johnny Carson would have guest hosts often. Letterman guest hosted. Leno guest hosted. Joe Garagiola, the baseball player, would guest host the show. But I've never had someone who guest hosted our show and then chased it by being a guest on the show the next day. So Seth gave us 4 hours yesterday. He'll give us a segment today. We'll get his take on the Stanley Cup final as well.
I did have to laugh yesterday listening to you guys when Seth made the comment of, if Trent's in tomorrow, I might be out. And then you immediately just started giving him crap and ribbing him for it.
Well, I mean, hey, if he doesn't want to show up today, I wouldn't have blamed him. I have to be honest. 4 hours with me is more than enough. And then we will talk some college football today. I know that gets everybody excited. I know a lot of you, some of you get upset that are diehard whatever fans going, man, you're going to talk football again. It's not the middle of June or not even the beginning of June. But a couple of things. One, that bipartisan bill that was introduced by Ted Cruz and others was not slammed, was basically given the thumbs down by both the Big Ten and the SEC. Now, there was a lot of things said in that statement by the SEC and I mean, they put a statement out together. Now, think about that. They can't agree on a damn thing right now. One wants 24, one wants 16, who would rather stay at 12. They are fighting one another for supremacy. They just had the SEC meetings, and Greg Sankey said, settle down, everybody. We're the best conference. I know they've won a couple of titles, but look at the conferences. Are you serious right now? Look at the ratings. Are you serious right now? But they put out a joint statement saying that they would not support the new bill. And they had their reasons. We'll get into that later on in the show. But I wanted to have Bud Elliott on, one, to talk about that. But two, I started yesterday, Trent. I started. Bud Elliott, for a few years now, does the summer school program where he does summer podcasts on damn near every Power 4 team. I don't know how many total they'll end up doing. But I went to get my workout in yesterday. I was on the treadmill. I was 2 songs in. And I'm like, what about some college football? Did he start the summer school yet? And I, went to my podcast app and searched Bud Elliott, and I said, I'll be damned. Not only has he started it, he's deep into it. So I listened to a podcast on college football, and I picked out my arch nemesis. I started with the University of Michigan because obviously with a new coach, with new coaches, that's going to be a different team. They hired a great coach, and I think they'll be a solid Big Ten team. And they were one of the early ones he did. Let's start with Michigan. Let's listen to about Michigan football. So I took that in and I texted Bud yesterday and I said, hey, man, how about coming on the show and talking a little college ball? We'll promote your summer school program and get your take on what's been an interesting summer already in the sport of college football. So Bud Elliott will join us to talk some football. Keith Smith to talk some hoops. Seth Everett to talk hockey and whatever the hell else Seth wants to talk about here on a Wednesday morning. Couple of things we're going to get to on the show. I'm going to throw Trent for a loop in a little bit. I want to see if he can handle it. I don't know what Trent has. This very much like a Miller and Moulton show, in that I attempted to contact Trent yesterday early, unlike David, that will send me the guest list at 5:15 in the morning. So I have no idea what we're talking about. So I can't do any prep. I can't get ready for anybody. I sent Trent the guest list yesterday at, let's see, because it was early, Trent.
I think it was like 5-ish.
5:30 p.m. Trent had the whole guest list. At 9:30, I texted Trent again and said, are you in for tomorrow? Because you told me where you were, and we already sent you a check saying that you are.
I told you I had a busy day yesterday. I'm sorry. I saw your text, and then I couldn't get
blew
right
it
back
off.
to you. Well, I couldn't get right back to you right then. And then, one thing leads to the next, and you know how distracted I get and how rabid I can be. So, unfortunately, I forgot. But then when you double texted me, that's when I got back to you eventually.
So, I don't know what Trent's bringing to the show today. All so far that he has told me that the 25-year-old's very tired and he had a long day yesterday. Any sympathy coming from any of you? Because there sure as hell isn't any coming from me. When we come back, I will try to hit Trent between the eyes with an event, a sad event that happened 10 years ago today, and see One, if he knows who the hell I'm talking about. And two, if there's someone like that in his sports world. Miller and Moulton, Hump Day edition, starting 25 minutes away. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
No! This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio, with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
This is Miller and Moulton.
What's 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Canada relief? I don't know what it is you're talking about. And Paula, yes, it was good. Now, Paula, if you were to tell me that the Florida Summer School podcast was good, that would mean something. No offense, Paula, but you telling me a podcast that basically tells you how great Michigan is was a good podcast does not come as much of a surprise to me. Is there anything about Michigan that you don't like other than me reminding you that they're cheaters? He didn't work till 11 p.m. He how long was your podcast?
2 hours.
He worked for 2 hours yesterday.
I produced 2 shows.
You produced 2 shows. Are they
shows
are they live? Are they live shows or are they podcasts?
They're podcasts. So
you produced 2 podcasts.
Then you got to edit them. That
What
takes forever with these guys. You know how much swearing they do?
And what do you have to do? You can't leave the swearing in?
You can, but we do 2 versions of it. So there's one clean version and one.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. Right. Yeah, I know he's raising his daughter, making dinner for his family. I get it. Taking his mom, I had out of nowhere yesterday, my mother, she's been without a car for like a week and a half, maybe a little longer. And I called her. I said, "Hey, is your car going to be ready?" "No, it's not going to be ready till tomorrow." "Okay." Just getting ready to start dinner last night. "Can you take me to get my car?" "Sure." No problem.
I gotcha.
There are no Detroit banners to hang, Paula. I will ask the both of you. When is the next time Detroit will hang a banner that's not a "we won the division" banner, typical Detroit crap? When's the next time they actually hang a banner?
I mean, the Pistons are the closest.
Are they?
Yeah. Of the 4 right now, yes.
They're closer than the Lions? Seriously, I'm asking.
Well,
I know they were the 1 seed, but the regular season NBA matters less and less, every year.
Yeah, I get that. But I guess just, being the 1 seed compared to missing the playoffs.
I understand.
But I don't know, though. You're right, because in the NFL, it's not easier to win a Super Bowl, obviously. It's damn near impossible, but it's one game, so you can get hot.
And it's easier to turn it around. I mean, not for Detroit, but for everybody else.
That's fair.
Put it this way. In the next 10 years, by 2035, if Detroit were to win a championship, what it would be in. Ooh, dead stroke. I'd go Miami because I think the Florida Panthers could do it next year. And the Heat will fix this. I'll trust Pat Riley to fix it before I'll trust. Yes, they do, dead stroke. They've got to. I know they play in Lauderdale. I get it.
Yeah, I've always counted the Panthers as Miami. When you do the whole, cities with 4 teams or teams in 4 sports, because we know New York and LA.
Well, we want lots of things, Paula. I mean that, and you are. I mean, you're knocking on Ambient's door for Homer of the show, and I love you, Paula. I want you to know that. I think you're a wonderful, wonderful lady. Appreciate you listening every morning. But if I were to rank homers on this show, there's Ambient, and Paula's about here, and then Empire's right there with Paula. You guys would fight it out for number 2. It's a good inside. That's a good inside baseball question for the chat room. Rank Homer fans.
Paula, the Lions are going to turn it around this year. I'll tell you that. They're going to be better. They're going to be better. And I think they got a real shot to win the division with that schedule.
5 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
David's off for the rest of the week. I'm still Mark Miller. Trent Bally sitting in this morning with us. Hump Day edition, Miller and Moulton. Rainy morning here in Southwest Florida. I don't know what's going on in Tampa and Jacksonville. I don't check the weather everywhere, nor do I care, but I had some problems with my smoker last night. It was tripping the circuit breaker, so I had to have everything taken apart, and I'm dealing with it, and it wasn't undercover. And this morning I had to run out and get it undercover because usually the nice vinyl covers on it and everything's, but it's all a mess. So it's raining, and it's not supposed to rain in early June in Florida, for crying out loud. But whatever. And next week we're going to get rain and cool weather. By our standards, temperatures in the 80s, like low 80s next week. Wow. That doesn't ever happen. Weird year. All right, Trent. I don't know. I know you know who this person is. But this morning, as I was getting up and preparing for the show and putting the final touches on the starting 5, I discovered something on X. That 10 years ago today, the greatest of all time, passed away. Muhammad Ali died 10 years ago today. And when you're my age, about to turn 57, all I really remember of Ali is the end. And it wasn't great, but I do remember some good, but I remember, obviously, he still had it from a personality standpoint. He still had the gift of gab. He was still amazing to listen to. And I've seen most of the fights. I've watched a lot of the documentaries and things of that nature. But he was an athlete, and talking to my mother about it, especially because my mom and my late father were both big boxing fans. And boxing obviously was a bigger sport when they grew up. But when my mom talks about Ali, she's like, "Oh, I loved him." And my mom was not really a counterculture person, although she did pick up at like 20 and hitchhike across or drive across the country and move to California for a short time. So close, but she wasn't really in that hippie thing. That wasn't her thing, but she was always an R&B person and like that kind of music. And she loved Ali, and she loved him when he was Cassius Clay. And her father, who was a football coach, my grandfather, well, he didn't. Because one, he changed his name. Two, he was brash. And she remembers watching the Ali Liston fight in which her father was rooting hard against Ali and continued. And I remember my grandfather didn't like him all that much. And obviously, not going to Vietnam and his stance and not being drafted, people don't remember how polarizing that was and how many people despised him because of that. When you're my age, all you really remember was Ali, the hero, all the way up until lighting the torch in Atlanta when his body was pretty much gone and his arm and his hand shaking and still lighting that torch, being an incredible moment in American sports history, in my opinion. But I'm trying to think because, we were talking yesterday on the show was the day that Ted Williams enlisted in the Army right before World War II or during World War II. I don't remember which. But I just said to Seth, could you imagine an athlete doing that today? We have a conflict in Iran. I'm not saying people are running out to join the way they were for World War II, nor would I expect them to. But we're in a different, very polarizing. I mean, my goodness, a player introduces a president and that becomes a big deal inside of a locker room. That's how polarized our society. And I'm not getting into politics, but I think you all are aware that we have a very polarizing world when it comes to who the president is, what side you're on, etc. That's all I'm going to say there. But because of that, is there an athlete in your lifetime that that was really disliked that's now beloved? Because I could go the other way. To me, LeBron early in his career was universally loved. LeBron is now a little bit more polarizing, way more polarizing than he was when he started. Like he's gone the other way.
Yeah.
So is there an athlete you can think of in your lifetime that's become a hero that wasn't when he started?
Yes. And this is kind of for deeper reasons, perhaps, but January 26, 2020, Kobe Bryant dying in the tragic helicopter crash. We know Kobe's past, a little bit checkered, right, to say the least. Maybe got off easy with some things. Go read up on it if you'd like to. And now no one ever
got off easy.
No one ever talks about that. They only remember him as a legend. And I equate it, Mark, to, you're a big music guy. The 27 Club, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Kurt Cobain, they get when you die at the height of your powers, you become immortal. Not that you wouldn't have been anyways. And I know Kobe did finish his career, but he was just starting to do a bunch of other things. He became famous for being a great father. He had won an Oscar. I think he won some other award. He was like starting to become more of just a basketball player.
You know what? That's actually really good. Because I know someone immediately said Pat Tillman. Yes, Pat Tillman joined the military after 9/11. Yes.
Yeah.
Pat Tillman was not a household name before that. He died a couple of years after he enlisted, friendly fire, awful tragedy. No doubt. He should be regarded as a hero for what he did. And I by all means, I would never disparage anything about Pat Tillman. It would be a moron to do so. However, Pat Tillman was not Muhammad Ali, was not Kobe Bryant, was not LeBron James from his standpoint of star power. That's all I'm saying. And that's 25 years ago, 24 years ago. Trent was barely born, and I'm not trying to pick on you, Trent, but I'm saying it's a generation ago.
Yeah.
And I'm saying today, and I think Kobe's a good comp, and Kobe's, getting close to his time playing was a damn near a generation ago as well. But I think you're right, because Kobe was a little more polarizing early in his career, and obviously had the incident in Colorado with a sexual assault charge that he ended up walking from, and people didn't like him because of that. That was a big deal, particularly in the basketball world, where he was loved by everybody and then not liked by everybody in post-career. And I don't think you can't compare it to what Ali was and did. Because Ali's was for a political stance that a lot of people supported. I mean, you think about being against the Vietnam War, that was an incredibly divisive time in our country. And I think that would be, comparable to now from a standpoint of how polarized we are as a society, but it was over something completely different. But from an age standpoint, young people were against it. Older people said, you go serve, a lot of them. But I think that Kobe's a good comp.
It's the only one that remotely comes to mind, because obviously other athletes do. Like, I could think Bill Russell, I could think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who's thankfully still with us. And basketball's my wheelhouse, so that's where I go to. But that wasn't my generation. I didn't watch those guys. So for someone from my generation or someone I grew up watching to pass away, it unfortunately has to be a young death. And Kobe Bryant is really the only one I can think of who has a checkered, polarizing past, who's no longer with us. And all people talk about is the Mamba mentality and the 5 rings and wanting to be like Mike and all that. And you know what? More power to him for it. He left a mark on a lot of people.
So Muhammad Ali passed 10 years ago today. Good comp, Trent. Well done, you, because I didn't give you a heads up. You had nothing on that. I came in with high heat, and Trent, I'll give him for sure at worst a long single, but I think that might be a double in the gap. I really think that's solid. So Miller and Moulton, we're going to get to some football. I want to get Trent's take on Myles Garrett going to the Rams, and we went over it yesterday. The Rams now have 1 first-round draft pick that they've selected on their team in the last 10 years. They traded away most of them, and now they traded away Verse, which was another, but just Ty Simpson, the quarterback, the only number 1 pick since 2016 that's on their roster, and they're the favorites to win the Super Bowl at this point in time.
And largely favorites because of their quarterback, Matthew Stafford. I don't see Ty Simpson playing at any point this season, barring injury, so that makes it even more bizarre.
Not a chance. And also talk of a Hall of Fame player coming out of retirement for the Rams as well. The starting 5's next.
The Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe. And your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Puck, I'm not trying to compare Ali to other athletes. I mentioned that he died. I was trying to get someone in Trent. I am trying to build an audience, and where I need to build it is with younger people. So that's why I went there. I said there's not a comp to Ali. It's very different. I was trying to ask him someone in his generation. And I would say Kobe's world famous. There's not a doubt in my mind. And Mr. Spivey, I think that's look at, obviously he's big, but I do think you're onto something there that Kurt Busch I think that's an excellent point, Mr. Spivey, that Kurt Busch will be remembered way more fondly, or Kyle Busch will be remembered way more fondly. I don't think Kurt Busch. I think the fact, because he was a great driver, but he was an a-hole.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean,
not likable at all.
We can have an honest conversation here. This was a guy that was not liked.
That is a good one. I wasn't even thinking NASCAR remotely, but that is.
Yeah, Messi would be in that league. Yes, he would. But I don't know if Messi was ever disliked. I mean, and you know this, Puck. You're old enough to know Ali was disliked by many. He was considered think about it. He changed his name to Muhammad Ali in the 60s. That's not a popular move. We were a little divided racially at that time. I mean, we still are now, but not like we were then.
Hell no. You been golfing, Mark?
Yeah, twice a week. Supposed to play today, but this rainy thing, if it's cart pass only, I won't play. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Obviously, DC, yeah. You know what? That's something we will not even bring up on the show today, B-Man. I want you to understand that will be, I won't even repeat what you said for the Twitch audience, because that word will not be uttered on our show today.
If there's no reason to bring them up,
there
not
isn't.
doing it.
There isn't. Just a YouTube comment, Puck. I've got both shows that I can see. So you guys don't get all the comments that we get.
YouTube has gotten bigger for you guys since I left.
Thank goodness.
I realized that. Like, it used
4
to be
seconds.
just funny.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, Hump Day edition. David off for the rest of the week. We'll let you know what's going on Monday, because that's probably when I'll find out, to be really truthful with you. You know, I did it again. Keith Smith will join us at 7:38. I'm looking at what I sent you so I can just have the rundown, and I typed Kevin. And yesterday I said, thanks, Kevin, to him. When Keith, it says right when I'm looking at my phone, I sent him a screenshot. I'm like, it says it right there. And I got to give him credit because his response to me, and I'm not sure how I'm going to introduce him today, because he said, if I had $1 every time someone called me Kevin Smith or Keith Smart, I'd be long since retired. So I'm not sure how I plan on introducing him. I might use all three, but Keith Smith will join us at 7:38. Seth Everett, 8 o'clock, and Bud Elliott, bottom of the 8 o'clock hour. We'll have what he likes to call a little summer school with college football. But right now, it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
Probably would help if I pull it up, but that's all right. We're there. Technology is a wonderful thing. Last night, the Vegas Golden Knights have had relentless pressure, put Carolina on their heels, and defeated them 5-4. Thomas Hertl had the winning goal at 16:36 of the third when Carolina defenseman Shane Gottsbear lost Hertl, and Hertl able to get into the slot and beat Frederik Andersen for the 5th goal of the night for Vegas. They would hold on. Rod Brindamore after the game said they forced us into mistakes and we really didn't handle the pressure particularly well. Sometimes there wasn't pressure and we made a few poor decisions with the puck. They capitalized. As I mentioned in the open, historic win because entering Tuesday, road teams were 0-55 when down multiple goals at any point in game 1 of the Stanley Cup final.
Wow.
Carolina had a 2-0 lead in the first period. Some other hockey news. Yesterday, Bettman gave his State of the League speech, and they did confirm that they will have, during the All-Star weekend, an international flavor, if you will. Canada, Finland, Sweden, the States, and a world team will compete in some 3-on-3 hockey. Each All-Star team will have 9 skaters, 2 goalies. It'll be a round-robin tournament with the winning team claiming a $2 million prize. Russian players can play. Keep an eye on that because it looks like the International Ice Hockey Federation is finally going to allow Russians to compete in international competition. Game 1 tonight in the NBA Finals. San Antonio, a 4.5-point favorite. Mitchell Robinson from the Knicks listed as questionable for Game 1. He underwent surgery to address a broken finger. They calling it a game-time decision. Knicks coach Mike Brown wouldn't tip his hand. Said he did some individual stuff on Monday. I'll talk to our medical people to see what he can do Tuesday. Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals averaged 15.9 million. The most watched conference final game in 10 years since OKC and Golden State. The game peaked with 22.2 million viewers. Little NFL talk for you. The Falcons make Drake London one of the highest paid players in franchise history. 4 years, $141 million contract extension, including $100 million guaranteed. The Steelers agreed to a 4-year extension for linebacker Nick Herbig, $42 million of that guaranteed. Some analytics, because I know everybody loves them. He had the highest pass rush win rate in the NFL last season, 26.3%. He had an interception to go along with 7.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery for a touchdown. He had a career-high 18 hits on the quarterback last year.
That pass rush rate probably a benefactor of having T.J. Watt across from you, right?
Absolutely, but and what I found most interesting, Trent, about it is that here are the Steelers doing what? Spending more money on their defense.
Of course.
The Rams, they just traded for Myles Garrett. And Aaron Donald told Jordan Schultz of the Schultz Report that he is considering a return.
Could you imagine?
I'm for sure flirting with the idea. He texted Schultz on Tuesday night. Hell of an opportunity to win the Super Bowl in SoFi this year. If I can find the fire, it's a possibility.
To think that he could come back and still be a top 5, top 10 pass rusher, I'm sure if he wanted to.
Yeah, I think, he's not going to play, and we'll get into this with Pat Kerwin tomorrow, but he's not going to play 70 plays. He's going to play, 25 plays?
Yeah.
Passing downs only. And there's a video of him, I think it's last year, where he had some Rams players come to him and do his workout. They couldn't do it. He still works out like a beast.
Yeah.
Speaking of
He's
which, Miles Garrett, after the presser yesterday, the introductory press conference, looked at one of the PR guys because they wanted to take him somewhere or do something. He goes, I need to go lift weights.
That's terrific.
Josh Jacobs practiced in front of reporters Tuesday. He is still under investigation by the Brown County District Attorney's Office for alleged domestic abuse. No formal charges have been filed. He was arrested last week. To baseball we go. The Tigers, 2 in a row. Holy Toledo. Gleyber Torres, a leadoff home run. Wenceel Perez, Riley Green also went deep. And the Tigers routed the Rays, 8 spit. Jack Flaherty, now 1-7. Struck out 6 in 5+ innings. Matt Vierling tripled and doubled and drove in 2 runs. The Tigers have lost 8 consecutive series, their longest streak since 2019. And they won back-to-back games for the first time since May 2nd and 3rd. Steven Matz for the Rays allowed 5 runs and 6 hits in 1 2/3 inning for the Rays. Gilberto Hernandez hit 2 of Miami's 4 home runs in the Marlins, won by the same score back-to-back nights, 7-3 over the Nats. Joe Mack, Hernandez, and Otto Lopez hit back-to-back home runs in the 5th inning. They held a trio of pitchers, held Washington hitless until the 6th. Philadelphia, a 3-2 win over San Diego. Bryce Harper hit a 2-run homer and then scored the winning run. Duran struck out the side in the 9th for his 13th save. Xander Bogaerts nearly tied it with a home run. It was just left of the foul pole in the 9th. Baltimore, a 4-2 win over Boston. Kobe Mayo and Pete Alonso homered in back-to-back innings. That's all the offense that the Orioles needed. That's their 8th win in their last 11. Cleveland, a 9-4 win over the Yankees. Jose Ramirez, second of 3 doubles in the game, snapped a 4-4 tie in the 5th inning. Cam Schittler gave up more runs than he had all year long. He went to 7-3 on the season. Aaron Judge missed the game with a nagging bone bruise and soreness in his right shoulder. He was not in the lineup for the Yanks. Cincinnati beat Kansas City 4-3-10. Blake Dunn's RBI single in the 10th inning completed a comeback and gave the Reds a walk-off win over the Royals, who won for their 2nd time in their last 6. Royals starter Noel Cameron retired 20 of 21 to start the game, but the bullpen couldn't hold on. Kansas City's now lost 7 of its last 8. Atlanta, a 4-3 win over Toronto. Matt Olson had 2 of Atlanta's 6 hits, including the tie-breaking home run in the 6th inning to give the Braves a 4-3 win over Toronto. Olson 2 for 4 in the night, 46 RBI. That's tied for 3rd in the NL. Milwaukee beat up on San Francisco again, 8-3 last night. Jake Bauers hit a 3-run home run. Kyle Harrison, who used to pitch for San Francisco, matched his career high with 12 strikeouts. He's 7-1 on the season. Took a shutout into the 6th inning before allowing a home run. That snapped his streak of 23 consecutive scoreless innings. Giants have lost 7 of 8. Minnesota, a 6-4 win over the White Sox. Tristan Gray, 2 for 4 with a pair of RBIs as the Twins won Tuesday night at home against the White Sox. The White Sox have dropped back-to-back games after winning the previous 5 in a row. Texas, 7-4 win over St. Louis. Jock Peterson, 3 hits, including a go-ahead RBI single in a 3-run 9th. And the Rangers beat the Cardinals. The Athletics. I almost said Oakland. I didn't. I just want to let you know I caught myself. Beat the Cubs 2-1. Gage Jump with 7 solid innings in his 2nd big league start. And Zach Geloff had the tie-breaking single to give the Athletics a 2-1 victory. Nick Kurtz homered to help the A's win for just the 3rd time in their past 10. Houston got back Josh Hader off of the 60-day IL yesterday. He didn't play because, well, there was no need for a closer in a game that Pittsburgh won 10-6. O'Neal Cruz, a 3-run go-ahead home run in a 4-run 6th inning as the Pirates won the opener of the 3-game series with Houston. Jordan Alvarez hit a home run early in the game in the 1st to make it 2-0 Houston. It was his 21st home run that leads the American League. Colorado, 8-2 over the Angels. They have a better record than I think like 3 teams in baseball right now. Hunter Goodman, Willie Castero, and TJ Rumfeld all homered. Rumfeld's homer was a Canseco moment. Joe Adell, the outfielder for LA, had one bounce off of his head and over the wall for a home run. If you remember, Joe Adell was the one that robbed 3 home runs in one game. Ohtani doubled, tripled, and drove in 2 and scored twice. Freddie Freeman hit a 2-run homer, and the Dodgers would hold on to beat Arizona 6-5 to even that series at 1 game apiece. Ohtani has reached base in 18 consecutive games. Over that span, he's hitting .420 with 7 doubles, 2 triples, 4 homers, 17 RBI, and 10 multi-hit games. The Dodgers have won 15 of 19. The D-backs have lost 4 of 5. And Seattle made it their 8th consecutive victory as they pounded the Mets 8-3. Patrick Wisdom, Johnny Pareda, and Julio Rodriguez all hit home runs for the Mariners.
Did you almost just go Johnny Peralta?
I did. The spelling's close enough, and it's the weird spelling of Johnny, so it threw me. College softball, which has been terrific. Their World Series starts tonight, 8 p.m., in the game we want to see in football, Texas and Texas Tech. French Open yesterday, Andreev and Ukrainian Kostyuk both advanced to the semis. On the men's side, Zverev won his semi, and he is playing Menzik. They both advanced in straight sets. I know that the women's semi is going on as we speak. And you know what? If I was doing better, I would be able to give you an update on that. They're in the second set, and the unseeded Chowalska, that's my best. She won the first set. That's as good as I can do. College football, the Big Ten and the SEC issued a joint statement to speak against the legislation as it's currently written. While both conferences said they are in favor of, and I'll quote, a sustainable national framework for college sports. And they also plan to keep on working with Cruz and Cantwell as well as other members of Congress. They basically don't like it because it leaves, as they say, it does not meaningfully preempt the patchwork of state laws or to provide the protections needed to make and enforce constant rules, both essential to long-term stability in college athletics. Jim Phillips and Brent Yormark from the ACC and Big 12, meanwhile, say they support the bill. Ole Miss running back Kewan Lacey, Oregon quarterback Dante Moore, and Canes receiver Malachi Toney on the cover of EA Sports College Football 27. The Big 12, and I missed this yesterday, finally the Big 12 is going the way of the ACC. They are going to let people in on the replay booth. If you watched ACC football last year when there were replays, you were able to hear everything that went on. To me, it was riveting television. The Big 12 doing the same thing. We shall see if any other conference will join down the road. And that, at 7 minutes before the hour, is the starting 5. 5 big stories that you needed to know, I think. I mean, did you really need to know them? Probably not. But are you better off for knowing them? Hell yes.
There was a lot of baseball, and you did a great job covering all the baseball yesterday because there was a lot of it. And
there's nothing else this time of year. What the hell? You know, it's the middle of the week. If the golf tournament doesn't start till tomorrow. I mean, I even put the French Open in that damn thing for you.
That's what I'm saying. You took it all the way to the end of the segment. That's impressive in early June. It is.
I need a nap. That's all I'm saying. When we come back, we'll get Trent's take on the Myles Garrett trade. We have not talked to him about that yet, obviously, because it just happened on Monday. We talked with Seth about it yesterday. Seth blamed Deshaun Watson. We'll see if Trent goes the same route. And Keith Smith will join us next hour as well to preview the NBA Finals. They tip off tonight in San Antonio. The Knicks, a 4.5-point dog in that game. In the 8 o'clock hour, Seth, who guest hosted yesterday, will join us on the show, and Bud Elliott to talk some college football. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
No!
This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio, with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I don't think he's gone MIA. He usually shows up in the 7 o'clock hour. And he probably will show up less because I pick on him and David leaves him alone. But the Homer thing gets to me. It does. Anybody that's just it's just that team, and nothing else, and only talks about that team and nothing else. And that team, of course, has no flaws, and every other team has plenty of flaws.
Is it looking any better outside or no?
I don't know. I don't move.
You'll figure it out.
I literally, I said, I got in trouble yesterday. I was supposed to get my daughter up during the first break, and I forgot to wake her up. And that's it's a big thing in our house between my daughter and I, forgetting. And I give her a lot of crap. What did you do? And she goes, well, I failed to recognize that, she comes up with any word other than saying forget. And so she was very proud that she got at dinner last night. Say, Dad, what did you do again yesterday? I forgot, honey.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's going to be a handful.
You're going to love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. She is 12. All right. I've got to be honest. It's not going to bother me if at around 10 o'clock it starts raining because I see possibilities of rain all afternoon. And
You'd rather not just get out there and have to wait around or get
well, we're not playing at my course. Our course is closed this week because they closed down for 3 different weeks at different times of the summer for maintenance.
Okay.
So I've got to go get my crap. We're going to another course, and if it's raining, it'll be cart pass only. And I am very spoiled. I will not play that.
I don't
track
blame you. I
and
don't
have
blame
to
you
walk from
whatsoever.
one side to the other.
As someone who golfs, I'm not a golfer, but I'm someone who golfs. I'm the same way.
That's kind of where I am, Puck. I don't play in the cold and I don't play in the rain. I don't have an umbrella on my bag because what the hell would be the need for it? Unless it's a tournament. Then it's a different story. Then I can be a mutter. I played high school golf. It was in the fall in Michigan. And you play in late October and it's 38 degrees and raining sideways and you've got to play in that crap. No, I won't do it anymore. Ugh.
It's in the spring now, at least at where I went to school, and it's
probably is everywhere. That makes a lot more sense.
But it is the opposite though, because at the beginning of the season.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2, Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. As always, the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line wide open, 21,000, the number. If you've never texted the show before, you need to text the keyword Miller. Send that to 21,000, and then you can let it rip. Had a little discussion. It's the 10th anniversary of the death of Muhammad Ali. And I tried to press Trent for someone from his generation that was very polarizing early in their career like Ali and then became beloved. And he went Kobe. And since Kobe's death, we don't hear anything about some of the controversial things in Kobe's life. I think that's fair. Obviously, we're not saying Kobe was Ali. He's not the humanitarian, didn't do all the things. I'm not trying to get old people upset. But I thought it was a decent comp. I do think that.
As far as trying to find a big star, a major star, and Kobe obviously wasn't half the star Ali was worldwide, but Kobe here in this country was monumental to the sport of basketball. And when he tragically passed, the script flipped pretty quickly. People don't bring up the checkered past
I agree.
at all.
I agree. We got a text on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. By the way, 1-866-9-PELICAN, the number 1-866-9-PELICAN. Statewide, commercial and residential, hurricane season, not a bad idea to get your roof checked out. But someone said Serena Williams was openly booed. Her style and her brashness and her color. Now they hope she returns. I think that's a good, again, looking at someone from this generation, I think that's a solid answer right there. 21,000, the number. We'll take anything that you have to offer us and try to get it out there. But I do want to talk to Trent because Trent probably NBA first, but clearly NFL next.
Yep.
And Myles Garrett, first off, on your shock scale 1 to 10, where were you?
7. I'll start by saying this. I think this was in the Browns' best interest. They're not going to be competing for much of anything. Myles Garrett still is, if not the best. He's a top 3 at worst pass rusher in the league. Just broke the record, as we all know, for sacks in a season. So get something for him while you still can right now. And for a team like the Rams, who has consistently said F them picks, if you know what I mean, and has competed year in and year out and gone all in every single year that they've had Matthew Stafford, it made sense to me, the trade, but I was shocked that it actually happened, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I think clearly Myles Garrett's the best pass rusher in the game. Mike is coming back from an injury, so I don't know how he'll be. Will Anderson.
My thought was TJ Watt. That's it.
Yeah, he'd be on the list, but I think he's older.
Is he older
than Myles Garrett? I'm not. I'll have to double check. But Will Anderson there, and obviously your guy in Detroit, Hutch. All right, when you look, and I don't think you're wrong on your Cleveland take. But Seth said this yesterday. A lot of others have said it, and I think they're right. If Deshaun Watson would have worked out, this trade probably never happens because maybe Cleveland would be good. Yeah. But they spent all the money, gave up all the capital, and it has been such a joke of what they are that you're right. Cleveland's not going to be, more than likely not going to be good this year. A new coach. I wonder how much this regime will have to, they'll get these picks. Will they get to develop them? Because if it's not reset inside of 3 years, they'll dump this group and start all over again. But when you look at Cleveland, do you blame the Deshaun Watson trade for the reason they had to trade Myles Garrett?
Oh, in hindsight, for sure. If we're talking about the butterfly effect of bringing in Deshaun Watson with all the issues he had going on, talking about controversial athletes this morning, my Lord, that guy, and then fully guaranteeing the contract after they had been to the playoffs and won a playoff game, the Cleveland Browns. They were a couple plays away from beating the Chiefs in the second round when, if you remember that game, not for a huge history lesson, but the point is, yeah, Cleveland, I guess all the problems they have right now is a ripple effect from the original Deshaun Watson contract. And now you're right, Mark, they have to retool and they have to do so in a hurry. And if they can't, also, an angle that I think is interesting in this is that they're trying to evaluate quarterback first and foremost right now. So trading Myles Garrett isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world because if your defense is bad, you're going to be playing from behind. You're going to get to see what these quarterbacks can do. And I give Shedeur Sanders maybe 2 seasons worth of it, so we got to be patient. But I think that's kind of what they're also thinking, whether they'll admit that or not.
Shedeur Sanders ain't starting this year, okay? Let's just be clear about that. Deshaun Watson's going to be the starting quarterback. Now, will ownership, will the general manager 8 games into a season, if they're 2-6, say it's time to play Shedeur the rest of the way? I think that remains a possibility.
Sure.
But they're going into the season with Shedeur Sanders as the backup, not as the starter. The other thing that I found out yesterday is that Myles Garrett, while with the Browns, was only a couple games under 500 in the division. Not their record overall, but during his tenure in Cleveland, their record in the division was pretty damn good. Think about how much easier it is to prepare for the Browns now if you're the Ravens, the Bengals, who had a losing record against Myles Garrett, and the Bengals always seem to figure out a way to lose to Cleveland.
Joe Burrow I think he's only beaten Cleveland like twice in the regular season or something crazy like that.
And the Steelers. So, I mean, you need that to be 2 win, but it certainly changes just your coverage in and of itself. How you're blocking Cleveland changes. You have to keep an extra guy in for Myles Garrett on damn near every play. Well, Cleveland, Verse is good, but he ain't the guy that's got to be doubled every play. The Rams had a double-digit sack guy along with Verse. Young, right, if I'm not mistaken? So, now we'll see if Young becomes even better with all the protection Garrett's got to get, and with the talk of Aaron Donald coming out of retirement. Wow. So the Rams were already the favorites in the NFC. They became bigger favorites after the Myles Garrett trade. Let me ask you this. As a fan of a team who has a quarterback that doesn't move, when the ultimate goal for every team is to get to the Super Bowl and win it, Detroit fans just want to get to one. I don't even think they care if they win it. They just want to get to one, so they're off the list. How much harder, in your estimation, is it going to be to beat the team with your former quarterback when you have a stationary quarterback, a line that's not nearly as good as it was a couple years ago, and now having to, I can't, maybe it would be a conference championship, but I don't think the Lions are good enough to be a 1 or a 2, so I don't think they're guaranteed that spot, even if they make the playoffs. Going to L.A. and playing the Rams, oh boy.
Yeah, and step one is already get out of your own division, which last season had nobody under 500. And to your point about quarterback, Kyler Murray for the Vikings can move. Jordan Love for the Packers can move. Caleb Williams, we know, can move for the Chicago Bears. So you're already at a disadvantage there in that department. And then, like you said, Mark, the talk up here yesterday was Myles Garrett's in the NFC now. It doesn't matter that he's not necessarily in your division. At some point, you're most likely going to have to go through him.
Well, I think it's a wild thing that what happened Monday. Now, we've watched the Eagles sign a bunch of receivers. You knew the A.J. Brown thing was going to happen by the way they handled the draft, the way they handled their offseason. They replaced him. So when
we just didn't know exactly where it was going to be with, right? We figured it'd be the Patriots because the deal was in the drawer, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
And that finally got done.
But I have trouble thinking Seattle's going to be as good this year as they were last. I could be dead wrong. They lost some key parts. They lost a receiver. They lost they lost the running back. They lost 2 defensive players. This is what happens after you win a Super Bowl. Guys go get paid. They got their ring. Now they go get paid. Can't blame them. So, but Seattle's still going to be good.
Yeah.
San Francisco should still be a solid team. But in the developments on Monday, before Monday, when someone asked me who the 2 best teams were in the NFC, I answered the Rams and the Eagles. I may answer the same way today, but didn't the gap get bigger on Monday?
Oh, yeah, it absolutely did. Because you're right. The Eagles did, quote unquote, replace A.J. Brown, but they replaced A.J. Brown with entities that we're not sure are going to be proven. So they addressed that need and got rid of some locker room problems potentially, right? So there's that angle of it. But yes, Mark, I mean, the LA Rams just added one of the greatest pass rushers we've ever seen. And I would go as far to say certainly the best pass rusher of my lifetime, 1999 and on. So, yeah, the gap got bigger, to answer your question. Absolutely.
So the Myles Garrett trade, press conference yesterday. After the press conference, he went to the weight room because that's what he does. Aaron Donald contemplating coming out of retirement. We'll see if there's anything there. Sean McVay said, hey, of course I'm interested.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't be? So how much does that change the NFC? How much does it change the Browns? And I think the one part of this that is not talked about nationally is just how different it is to prepare for them now that he's not there. Your coverages, your line coverage is very different. How many guys you have to keep in? You're keeping in 6 every time.
Yeah.
Against Myles Garrett. Now you can keep in 5. Now you can do different things.
You could drop a lot more, and that helps out. It's different. It's a lot different. There's no doubt.
So, and the other side of it is that I, listened to a few people yesterday and read a couple of things. Myles Garrett set the sack record last year, and he's playing on a much better defense. I mean, the talent on the Rams defensive front is better. Not that the Browns didn't have a good defense, and you wonder about the Jim Schwartz thing not being there. He was their coordinator. He left. He talked for the first time yesterday. He said there was no point in staying, and I can't say I blame him. He wanted the job. He's not going to stick around without getting the job. So the Rams, now they have to live up to it. That's the part, how many times have the Rams been the clear-cut favorite?
One more last little angle on the Myles Garrett situation is he's now playing on a much better defense, like you mentioned. So he's not always going to be playing from behind. There's going to be more opportunities to rush the passer. And I think when we just saw the guy rack up 23.5 sacks and break that record when the Browns were constantly, playing, getting blown out by teams. We'll see what he can do in LA. I think that's interesting.
Miller and Moulton. Text lines open. 21,000's the number. Keith Smith will talk some NBA with us to get ready for the finals that begin tonight. That's coming up 25 minutes. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com.
Go! This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio, with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332516.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Tim, that was kind of the point that we made, is that now, I mean, since Kobe's death, that's not ever even brought up. It's all about, like Trent said, the Mamba mentality, his desire to win. We don't talk about any of the bad stuff. That's precisely what Trent's point was. Paula, I have to admit, you do have some ambient in you, because you're sick of hearing about the Rams because Matt Stafford's their quarterback. If it were a Rams team without a former Detroit player leading them, I don't think you'd have the same problem. Like, I don't see you complain about the Chiefs. I don't think, or Michigan, Puck. But it's a valid point. I mean, come on, Paula. This is very, very ambient-esque. What don't you like about Sean McVay? His winning, his looks?
Well, I will come to Paul's defense for a quick second.
Of course, you're the biggest Detroit homer on the planet.
And that's what I was just going to say, was the Rams get talked about more than any out-of-market team in Detroit just because of Stafford. And it's like, at some point, that was 5 years ago that trade was made. Can we move on?
Backdoor deals.
Yeah, I don't know.
Backdoor deals.
I can't help you there, Paula.
The Matthew Stafford trade is what made the Lions relevant.
No, I know.
Goff totally outkicked his coverage coming to Detroit. No one expected him to do that. They gave Detroit picks to take Jared Goff.
That's all true. And I guess that's part of my point. We're sick of hearing about it. Like let's talk about this team's issues. This team is a lot different than the 2021 team that they had to clean up.
But for the rest of us that don't care about the Detroit Football Lions,
yeah, I get that. But Paula does.
The fact that your team is now actually talked about on a national level should have you so excited that MCDC is a thing that you have. I mean, again, and I've always been proud that Detroit's had some athletes that I don't care about the role model crap. I never have, but it's nice when the best athlete can be role model-esque.
Yeah.
You got a receiver that's a great dude.
Yep.
I mean, a great dude, speaks multiple languages. You know, I mean, always that's why I was a Dumars guy over at Isaiah Thomas guy. I never was an Isaiah fan.
Really?
No. Whenever Isaiah led them in scoring, they typically lost.
Oh, you and I have had this conversation before. That's right. Yeah.
When he hurt his ankle and had the 41 points, what was the final score of that game? Who won
that was the loss in Game 6.
Thank you.
1988.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, Yzerman as a player, I don't know if there were 5 more classier players than Steve Yzerman. Alan Trammell, same way. I mean, Barry Sanders. I mean, I was very lucky that the teams that I watched all had these really good dudes as their leaders. I mean, Joe D's got more of that Yzerman thing. Joe D's an incredible player. He's a horrible administrator. Horrible.
Oh, I'm aware. Although I will say, Joe Dumars, I don't know if it was lightning in a bottle at the beginning, but his first 4 or 5 years with the Pistons as the GM were terrific, aside from the Darko pick. But
from the Darko pick? How do you...
Because all of the starters on the going to work Pistons were acquired, except for Tayshaun Prince. Tayshaun Prince was the only one who was drafted. The rest of them were traded for, and Chauncey was a castaway when he came over.
Do you have? By the way, do you have anything here, young man, or no?
I want to go NBA. I just don't want to bug you about it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton. David's off the rest of the week. We'll see about Monday. He's actually off the end of next week for sure as well. I know Trent's doing the next 2 Thursdays and the next 2 Fridays. I cannot tell you what's happening next Monday through Wednesday. I have no idea. I really don't. I wish I did. I don't. I'm in the dark here. There are others that may know, but I'm not one of those people, which is difficult because my name's on the show. 21,000 is the text line. And during the 6 o'clock hour, I asked Trent, because it was today's the 10th anniversary of the death of Muhammad Ali, one of the most famous athletes who's ever walked planet Earth. Would be on the short list. I think if you were to rank most popular athletes and worldwide, I would guess Pele would be on that list. I would guess Ali. I guessed Ali would be on that list, and I don't know how you'd finish the top 5. I don't. Certainly from the second half of the last century, but
Maradona.
I
think it'd be a lot of soccer players.
It probably would, but even but you're right. But Ali is a worldwide transcendent figure in sports. And I wasn't trying to get Trent to find that, but because early in Ali's career, he was not universally loved. In fact, he was disliked by a lot of people. If you think about it, here we are coming off the gold medal win. He changes his name, converts to the Nation of Islam, and talks a lot of smack. So, I asked Trent to come up with an athlete who was a little more polarizing in the beginning that became more universally loved later on. He went Kobe. I don't think that that's a bad pick. Different reasons, not trying to get into the why.
Nor should we.
But since Kobe's passing, that's never brought up. And I think that's a fact. So Serena Williams was brought up. Obviously, she's making a return to tennis here in a couple of weeks in London at 44, playing in a doubles playing on in the double side at the Queen's Open, I believe it's called. Someone also texted in, what about Dale Earnhardt? All right, I'll give you that, because Dale Earnhardt, I mean, the Intimidator, you know, and he had a ton of fans, but he had a ton of people that didn't like him. And the Intimidator is just cool now since his passing. There's not any part. And I wonder if Kyle Busch, who was also not the driver that Dale Earnhardt was, but
not likable,
liked.
He
wasn't
socially. He wasn't liked by the other drivers. He was respected, but not liked. There's a difference.
Right. And will that change? But 21,000's the text line. But game one is tonight. Knicks and Spurs. The Spurs are 4.5-point favorites at home in game one. And obviously, the Knicks have been playing unbelievable basketball. What, they were down 2-1 in the series against the Hawks? Haven't lost since?
Correct. And they've been blowing teams out on route to those wins. The closest one was the overtime win, and even that ended up being a double-digit win. So, I mean, the Knicks have been rolling. They have seemed to find something, and it's the ultimate rust versus rest thing, Mark. I'm not sure where you err on that debate. I wanted to ask you about that. You've got the Spurs, who are a lot more battle-tested in these playoffs particularly, but this is their first time making this sort of run. The Knicks have made runs with this core and have had all the rest in the world for a team that was a little banged up with OG Anunoby. So I'm curious, do you have more faith in the rust or the rest?
Well, I'm picking the Knicks to win the series. Game one doesn't matter to me who wins it. It really doesn't. I think the Knicks just have to get one. So I don't know if game one matters as much to the Knicks as it does the Spurs. I mean, the Spurs don't want to go down 0-1. They just don't.
Because then there will be all the pressure on them on short rest to even up the series and not go back to MSG down 0-2. Something that might make you feel better about your Knicks pick. Not that you need reassurance. But I want to give you a stat, and then I'll give you the bottom line because it's a bit of an analytical stat, but I just want to read it for you. Of all players to be the primary defender on Victor Wembanyama for at least 100 possessions since he entered the league, OG Anunoby has allowed the least points per 75 possessions. So it's a lot of analytics, but the bottom line is, Mark, OG Anunoby has been statistically and analytically the best defender Wemby's faced since his career began.
Well, let me ask you, because this is your wheelhouse. You're the hoop guy, and I want you to get a little more gritty, and we'll do it with Keith Smith coming up here in a matter of minutes. Give me somewhere else. Like if Wemby's better than Anunoby, I get that, but you just pointed out the stats that he can defend him. Where's the other area offensively where you think the Spurs have an advantage over the Knicks?
Well,
who's the matchup? Where are the matchups that you're getting advantages offensively for the Spurs? Because they're going to have to do, I think, a lot of what they did in Game 7 in beating Oklahoma City, and that's get 6-7 guys to get to double figures, to get scoring from up and down that roster and the bench. So where, if anywhere, do you see big advantages?
I don't know if it's a big advantage because the Knicks can shoot the three well, but we saw in Game 7 that was one of the primary reasons the Spurs were able to beat the Thunder was Champagnie went off. You had Vassell hit a few big shots, or Vassell, excuse me, Castle, De'Aaron Fox. We know what he can do even though he's a little banged up. So you've got guys who, Wemby can hit threes. You've got a bunch of Spurs players who are at least capable out there. So I'm curious to see how they'll try to spread that attack out a little bit, because you're right, Mark. They can't just pile on and make Wemby try to score 30. I mean, he's capable. We've seen it plenty of times. But we've also seen teams come in with a game plan. Maybe Wemby gets in foul trouble early, and he only gives you 18 points in a game. And that's where the Knicks can really have an advantage. The other key matchup, though, is Mitchell Robinson's hand. I mean, he's not a shooter. He's basically a lob threat and a defensive rim protector, right? So I think he's going to play tonight. I don't think there's any question he'll at least be available. Whether or not he starts is up to Mike Brown. But can he bully up with Wemby and just at least play him to somewhat of a wash, a 60-40 wash on defense? That's what I'm also looking at.
All right. The other question that I have for you regarding this is that San Antonio, I believe, is the best defensive team that the Knicks now will come up against. I think they're better defenders than the Cavs, and I think that was the next. I think that was the next best team. That I thought that the Cavs were going to be able to defend the Knicks a hell of a lot better than they did. And after the third quarter of game one, they just didn't. So what is the way that they shut Brunson down in your estimate? Not shut him down, but you know what I mean. Limit Brunson.
Yeah, they're going to throw the kitchen sink at him because they have capable guards that can play defense, and they're just going to throw different looks at him and not let him get comfortable with any one defender on him. In a perfect world, it would just be De'Aaron Fox every possession because De'Aaron Fox.
You can't do that. He's too good.
Exactly.
Brunson's too good. So
yeah.
De'Aaron Fox is a defender. He may be the first and fourth quarter defender, if you know what I mean. But
yes.
You're right. They've got to give him multiple looks.
Because Brunson is, and I don't mean this in a negative way, he's a smaller guy, right? So if you look at teams historically, not to go down this rabbit hole, but really the only small guys to lead their teams to championships are like Bob Cousy way back in the 60s, and then our very own Isaiah Thomas, and then Steph, if you want to count Steph. But Steph's 6'3", and he's the greatest shooter ever by a mile, so he doesn't really count. Jalen Brunson is at a height disadvantage, a size disadvantage against a very tough physical defensive team. So I'm just curious how he's going to respond to that, Mark. They are going to throw 3 or 4 different defenders at him in the first half alone.
How big of a role does Cat have to play for the Knicks to win?
Cat has to be the best big man on the floor for the Knicks to win, period. Because I think
even better than Wembanyama? He can't be second?
I think he's got to outplay Wembanyama for the Knicks to win. And that's a big reason that I like the Spurs, and I like the Spurs in short order in 5 games. Because I think Wemby is going to be the best player on the floor, let alone the best big man. But Karl-Anthony Towns, to his credit, he's got a bit of a reputation as a quote-unquote softer player. He can bang down low a little bit. So I'm telling you, Mark, the first quarter and a half of this game tonight is going to tell us how this series is going to go.
We'll talk with Keith Smith next about it. Seth Everett coming up at 8 o'clock, and we will talk some college football. I've got to do the countdown. I know we're under 100 days. We might even be under 90 days now. Hell, I got to get busy. Keith Smith to join us next. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Candid Relief, why are you picking fights that have nothing to do with what we're talking about? First off, if you've been paying attention, Puck said he was a big Ali fan to start the thing off. I'm not here to defend any of you folks in the Twitch chat room, but come on. Why are we picking a fight? I mean, it's ridiculous. I do like the chat room because sometimes you guys say things that can contribute to the show. You guys are on your own program right here of a bunch of garbage today. Holy crap. Are you just a fatty? Holy cow. This shows just this is something. There are reasons why I like to turn off the chat room from time to time, gang. No, I know. I saw it, Puck. At this moment, Twitch, Enzo, there are two different whole things. So I see every comment that's made from both mediums. Chawalinska won the French Open, if I'm saying that right. She was a qualifier. She's now in the semis.
There you go.
Wow. Probably going to play Sabalenka and get her ass kicked, but that's incredibly impressive.
Yeah, that is. And who knows? I've actually never heard of her. Is she younger? Because if she is,
I honestly, I haven't either. I just know that she's a qualifier. That's really, I from qualifiers all the way to the semis. She's very young. Looks very, but I have, honestly, I have no clue.
Deadstruck, yes. Blame It on the Rain's a great song. So is Girl, You Know It's True.
Oh, stop. I love it. They're not even, you would. Stop.
I know they're not real. I don't care.
Stop. Okay? You're losing credibility every time you open your mouth. Kiss's third best song? Well, Detroit Rock City's my favorite Kiss song. I don't know if that would be considered their best song.
I think
rock and roll all night is probably their biggest song.
I think critically Detroit Rock City is their most acclaimed, but I could be wrong. My favorite is Deuce to open Alive.
Cold Gin's one of my favorites.
Cold Gin is great. Love Gun title track. If you want a deeper cut, deeper, not necessarily.
Okay, I got a.
I Stole Your Love.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. David is off for the rest of the week. Trent Valley sitting in. Always love having our former producer who now is working in Motown, doing a podcast on the Legacy Media Network, doing a bunch of stuff up there, doing great work. We're joined now on the American Paint Supplies hotline by Keith Smith, not Keith Smart, not Kevin Smith, Keith Smith. That's just for me. It's not for any of you. Follow him on X. Keith Smith NBA hosts the Front Office Show and does a great job and has covered the league for a long time and has been great to Miller and Moulton. Keith, good morning. Mark and Trent, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. I'm excited. We got the finals starting and, the off season's getting cranked up. This is a great time to be an NBA guy.
I love the fact I noticed on your X page that you're doing off-season previews already. As I was promoting our 8:30 guest who does these college football summer schools, I'll give you a quick 30 seconds to plug yourself. How long ago did you start? Like, when did you start these, and how long will it take you to get through every team?
Yeah, so we do them in order of elimination. We usually start right around when teams start getting eliminated. We do in season, we do them a little slower pace. It'll be like one or so a week. And then when we get to this point of the off season and we're a few weeks from the draft and in that, then they pick up. So we're halfway through now. All the teams that weren't in the playoffs have been covered. And then the Phoenix Suns were our first playoff team that went up yesterday. And they'll come probably at least 2-3 a week here. We'll get them all done before the league year flips over.
Fantastic. That's great. I love the college football ones that Bud Elliott does. Now I've got something to listen to get me through hoop to try to get an idea, especially when the Magic come up, because I'm fascinated by what their off season's going to be like. So I know that's yet to come for Keith Smith NBA on X. All right, the finals get going tonight. Trent and I were just trying to break it down a little bit. Who is the guy for the Knicks? Now, we know Brunson has to lead them, but other than Brunson, and the answer may be easy with Karl Anthony Towns, who's the guy you're looking at that's the most critical player not named Jalen Brunson in this series?
Yeah, it probably is Karl Anthony Towns. I think what they have done with reworking this offense kind of on the fly in the playoffs to run a lot more through Karl Anthony Towns. And don't get me wrong, Jalen Brunson is still the engine that drives everything for the Knicks offense, but they're making sure Towns is getting the ball a lot. And what that does is that keeps him involved. It keeps him engaged. He's not always shooting the ball, but he's getting touches where he's facilitating. He's a really good passer. They're able to run Brunson off the ball a little bit more, at least to start sets and those kinds of things. And Towns is really big. And then on the other end of the floor, no one's going to ever champion Karl Anthony Towns to be a defensive player of the year or anything. But as long as he can be productive and avoid the silly fouls, which that's going to be a key for him, because he's going to have to guard Victor Wembanyama some of the time. They're going to put OG Anunoby on him, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, Mitchell Robinson will get turns on him, but Towns is going to have to pick him up at times. And in order for the Knicks offense to keep running and flowing, Towns has to be able to deliver on the defensive end too, especially, again, without fouling.
Keith, I'm of the opinion that the Spurs have guard depth defensively, especially to kind of throw at Jalen Brunson. And I think Karl Anthony Towns, for that reason, has to be the best big man in the series to win it. I officially picked the Spurs for that reason because I don't think he can outplay Victor Wembanyama. Am I crazy for having that line of thinking?
No, not at all. You're absolutely right about the guard depth that they can throw on Brunson. You can go with Fox if you want to get somebody quicker on him. If you want to put more size and be physical with him, which is how I think it'll probably go. You have Stephon Castle. Dylan Harper's also a good defender. They had no problem throwing Carter Bryant on guys for the handful of minutes that he plays as well in games. And then if you have to get even deeper, Jordan McLaughlin's a guy who can at least pick up for a couple minutes if there's foul trouble or a guy rolls an ankle or something, he can pick up. So, yeah, it's absolutely going to be a big, big part of it. And then Towns, Wembanyama, it's weird because it's the matchup, right, because it's the two centers. But I don't know how often they're even going to guard each other. I think the Spurs have gotten very comfortable with putting Julian Champagnie on opposing big men, which then allows Wembanyama to float. I think he's probably going to guard Josh Hart quite a bit. And if we're on video, you'd see me using air quotes because that's how teams guard the Knicks. They tend to float off Josh Hart some and then up to Hart to make them pay. But yeah, if Towns doesn't have a really good series, the Knicks probably don't have much of a chance to win this one. He has to be really solid and at least give them some production that matches Wembanyama's.
All right. When I was watching the series with OKC, you saw how physical they tried to get with Wembanyama. And I will say in game 7, I don't want to say it worked, but it was effective. They got him in foul trouble. He was getting a little frustrated, and he wasn't the best player in game 7. He was the best player for the series, deserved the MVP of the series. I get it. Can the Knicks emulate what OKC did? Because it certainly appears with Robinson, with Anunoby, and even Cat. I mean, they've got bodies to throw at Wemby, right?
Yeah, they do. And what teams are still trying to do is just bump him and bang him and move him around. When he's on offense, they want to, make sure that they're getting up and underneath him and just making him uncomfortable. And then if he sets a screen, they're going to run into that screen, at 100 miles an hour. Josh Hart is somebody to watch with that. He'll go nothing dirty, but he'll pick up a foul. On a guy trying to set a screen, more to send a message of, all right, hey, do it again, and we're going to be here. And then on the defensive end, what I was really frustrated by in Game 7 was OKC got Wembanyama in foul trouble and then just kind of let it go. They some of that was Chet Holmgren, but there was also SGA, a couple of their other guys. Nobody really went at him for the rest of the game, and they didn't force him. If the Knicks can get him there, they're going to go at him because that's kind of how they're set up to play is really, attack guys. So they're going to make him work. And on that end of the floor, they're going to screen him a lot. They're going to, put bodies on him. They're going to hit him. And Mitchell Robinson and Towns will get to him in the rebounding game. So you're going to have to try to be really physical with him. And as much of it is drawing fouls and a lot of it is also just trying to tire him out.
Keith Smith covers the NBA, does a great job doing so, joining us on Miller and Moulton. Keith, I think one of the biggest things that people are wondering is the rest versus rust with the Spurs and the Knicks, right? The Knicks have had plenty of rest. They've needed it, and they've gotten it. The Spurs, on the other hand, is it big wheel keep on turning? Are they going to be a buzzsaw for the Knicks, so to speak, on defense specifically, the physicality? How do you see Game 1 setting the tone tonight?
Yeah, it's interesting because, the Knicks have kind of blown the rest versus rust out of the water in the last a little bit here with, hey, rust is, whatever, who cares? We'd rather have our feet up and be ready to go. And the run they're on right now is remarkable. We've never seen anything like this. Not even in the regular season, never mind in the playoffs, just blowing teams out game after game after game is just really incredible stuff. But the Spurs, I think, Wemby, one of the things I love about him is he's very candid. He's refreshingly honest. And he talked about, he's tired. This is the most basketball he's ever played, deepest he's ever played into a season. He's just, worn down. And I think for him, what's good is they did have these few days to kind of recover. The NBA Finals is not the most grueling kind of every other day pace. It's every other day when you're in the same city, but then there's the extra day off for travel reasons. When you change cities, they start out at home. I think that's going to help the Spurs as well. So it's going to be really interesting. But yeah, tonight's a big one. I think for the Knicks, you want to do this in any series where you're the team without home court advantage. You really want to steal one in the first couple. And I think for the Knicks, what they want to do, let's try to push it a little bit. See if the Spurs' legs are still a little wobbly from that 7-game battle with the Thunder.
I compared this to the Eastern Conference Finals in hockey. Montreal had back-to-back 7-game series. They had nothing left for Carolina. Pretty grueling 6-game series against the T-Wolves, then a 7-game series against OKC. I'm with you on the legs. I do wonder, though, when you're defending Brunson, are you going to be a little more? I would think the Spurs have the ability to get in your face more than any other team, if you know what I mean. Because, okay, if you beat me off the dribble, if I'm up in your face and you beat me off the dribble, Wembanyama's back there to help. So Brunson being a smaller guard. In today's NBA, Brunson's a smaller guy. How much of a factor is the rim protection of Wembanyama versus Brunson versus maybe other scorers in the league?
Yeah, it's huge. There was a play in the Thunder series where SGA, who's much bigger than Jalen Brunson, he likes to do this move where he starts on the left side of the floor, he dribbles down to the block, spins to the middle, and then spins back for a fadeaway. And not only was Stephen Castle on it, but it's almost impossible to block as his main defender. But then Wemby came from out of nowhere from the other side of the lane and got a fingertip on it and blocked it. And you could see SGA like looking up, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, this is my move where I always get this shot off, and the second guy comes through. So the challenge for Brunson in this series is going to be it's those varying looks that the Spurs can throw at him. Fox is really quick. He's fast. He's going to be able to kind of disrupt his dribble and beat him to the spots. And then Castle and Harper both have really good size. Castle's extremely physical, and as you said, it's Wembanyama kind of lurking behind all of that. And then credit where credit is due, Luke Cornett, who hasn't played as much because they're leading on Wemby for more minutes. But whenever Cornett's on the floor, he's also a really smart, good help defender as well. So Brunson, who's a very physical guard for a smaller guy, even if he can bump his man off, the Spurs are going to have somebody coming in help position. But Brunson's a smart guy. He's a smart scorer. He'll figure it out. But what's going to be key is how quickly can he figure it out? And then what do the Spurs do to kind of keep him a little bit off balance?
Keith, you mentioned you don't necessarily see Karl Anthony Towns and Victor Wembanyama guarding each other one-on-one a whole lot. That's why I think Mitchell Robinson is very important for the Knicks. Look, that broken finger, he's not a shooter. He's a rim runner, a lob threat, right? Do you see him playing tonight? Because I don't see any way he doesn't.
Yeah, I think he's going to try to give it a go. What I'm mostly worried about is it sounds like it's, the Knicks are calling it a broken pinky, but then when it was announced what it actually was, most of the people who, cover the sport from an injury angle said it's really more of a broken hand. So what I worry about is, can he catch the ball? Is he going to be able to catch rebounds? Is he going to be able to catch lobs and passes and those things? And when you're going up against Wembanyama and to a lesser extent Cornett, you can't have any fumbles. You have to catch it and go strong immediately up with it. That's why Isaiah Hartenstein had some success, because when he was catching the ball, he catches and goes, where Chet Holmgren catch, survey, and that takes him a little bit more, and he was not able to get going. So, yeah, they're going to need Robinson to be some version of himself. And it can't just be he's going in there and tipping rebounds out, because when you're tipping rebounds out against a guy who's 7'5", you don't end up with a lot of those tip outs. He ends up being the one who gets his hands on those anyway. So you got to really hope Robinson can be himself and get in there and do all that dirty work that he excels at.
All right, break the tie. Trent's got the Spurs in 5. I've got the Knicks in 6. How do you see the series?
Yeah, I'm going with Knicks in 7. In part, this is it for the season. So I'm going to be greedy. I want all 7. I want as many games as we can get before basketball goes away for the summertime. So that's part of it. But it feels like this Knicks team is it feels like every year some team emerges and it's just like, oh, they've got it this year. This is it. And I feel like this Knicks team is ready for this. Picking them on 7 on the road is tough, but they've closed out series on the road already in these playoffs. That clearly isn't something that's going to phase them or bother them. So I've got Knicks in 7 in this one.
We've got about a minute left. I want to give you one last question, and it's off NBA. The WNBA yesterday and the Fever, Indiana Fever, took away the credentials of Scott Agnes, and I believe he covers the Pacers as well. And now being told he can't cover the Fever because he got into the whole injury thing with Caitlin Clark not being reported, and apparently they didn't like his style. 1, did he do anything wrong? And 2, is this a bad sign for the WNBA?
Yeah, for the first part of your question, no, he did nothing wrong. He got sourced information, and a lot of people were saying he was wrong, and he wasn't wrong. She did sit out that game, and then it came out later that she is dealing with some kind of back issue that they're managing through, and she's talked about it, and the team has talked about it as well. So now leading into your second question of, is this a bad for the WNBA? It's bad for the WNBA. It's bad on the part of the Pacers, who have also downgraded Scott's credentials. Scott, in the piece he wrote, if people look it up, He covers, what went on with both organizations, as well as the coverage he gives the teams, where he travels to a lot of events that no other beat writers are at for the Pacers or for the Fever. He does a lot of things, on his own because he's an independent journalist. He doesn't have one of the big media machines behind him,
Right.
to kind of make a big deal out of this. It's just wrong. It's wrong. You can't take away access for people because you don't like what they're saying.
He's
You
Keith
can do
Smith
it
up
if
against
you're
a
being
heartbreak, Keith.
inappropriate.
Sorry to cut you short.
I
Up against a
apologize.
heartbreak.
Yeah, thank you.
Miller and Moulton, Keith Smith.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Go!
This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live. Full sound on every TV across the patio with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Who are you?
Who am I?
Who are you? I've never seen you before.
I know. Well, I'll tell you one thing. Ray Berry should not have his number, not be in the Ravens Ring of Honor. Oh, I started a whole thing with my Syracuse guys. What's up, Trent?
Hey, good morning, Seth. Thanks for helping out yesterday.
No, it's my pleasure. Anytime I can help any of you guys. Yeah, because my guy who covers the White House, he lives in the Baltimore area. But the interesting one was my friend who's the diehard Hartford Whalers fan. Who had a great night last night.
Right. I mean, they are still just anti Carolina Hurricanes.
And he said, if a team moved to Hartford and all of a sudden they put Kevin Dineen in a Ring of Honor, the Whaler fan is incensed. And he's right.
Wait a minute. They put Dineen in the Ring of Honor?
No.
If they did, if
I'm
they
saying
did,
like a random
sorry.
team, right?
Right.
Like some the I don't know, the Dallas Stars moved to Hartford, right? Whatever, or an expansion team. You don't have the Whaler guy because the Whalers left. You just don't do it. And it's Johnny Unitas. There's a whole section of the Ravens Ring of Honor that has this, and it's like it's a relocation faux pas.
I couldn't help myself. Seth texted yesterday during the game that his daughter was watching and then was waiting for Love Island to start. And my response was she'd be watching if it were a Lightning game. And Seth's like that. So just don't.
I can't. I checked in on her, with her for another thing, and I said, "Hey, did you see Carolina scored 25 seconds in?" She goes, "I know, I'm watching." I go, "You're watching? You're not with me, and you're watching? How great is that?" She's like, "Love Island starts at 9."
I am actually, I don't know what, I mean, I look at whatever people watch is what they watch. I don't care. She's young. I get people watching those shows. I'm actually more taken aback by the fact that she watches it on network television with commercials.
That's not network television. That's Peacock. Love Island?
Okay.
Oh no,
is it
streaming?
Is it commercials though?
It might be, but that's a Peacock thing. That's not a network. That's not on like it. That's by the way, that's the trashiest TV, and that's cursing and
okay. I
nudity, I think, and yeah, it's
all right.
It's pure trash. She watches that in my apartment, and it makes my skin crawl.
I've watched it a little bit before.
Love Island? Oh,
it's interesting premise, but it's just so obvious that they're all just there to promote their future endeavors,
And then I kept going, but they're on an island. How many dates can you go on?
Yeah, right.
By the way, wearing the Jose Fernandez jersey.
Ah, look at you.
There you go.
I was very touched by the ALS stuff yesterday.
Which
Jose Fernandez is connected to ALS, but it's
right. She had another post because the Milwaukee pitcher, like his earned run the guy who pitched last night, his ERA is like however many starts, it's like 1 something. That's the best for a Brewers starter off the hop since Sabathia. And she just has great information. Great.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, third hour, final hour for a few of our network affiliates. Our former home market of Fort Myers and Naples, Lake City, and Port Charlotte, Venice, all done after this hour. Tampa and Jacksonville, they stick around for the whole thing. Seth Everett, you've never heard of him. He hasn't been here in 22 hours.
22.
Yes, because you were with us right until 10 yesterday. Seth actually guest hosted with me yesterday, but back in his usual slot because yesterday we didn't really promote his stuff yesterday, and that's, damn it, why he comes on. Part of the reason. 2 great podcasts, Hall of Justice Sports with Friends. And we did talk a little bit of both. We got Seth's movie list yesterday, if you missed the show, and Seth's summer movie list, and talked a little bit about the Hall of Justice. But Seth, game 1 last night, I know you are anti-Carolina Hurricane because they've dominated your division and you're a Devils fan. Yep. And boy, it certainly looked early like it was just more Carolina. And I don't know if you watched the game intently, but early in the game, they had Tortorella mic'd up on the bench. And it just shows he's obviously a veteran coach, and he's just like, guys, calm down, relax. We've got a lot of I thought it was fantastic insight. We usually don't get those. It was during one of the TV breaks, and he had, and hockey's not a sport where you get timeouts like basketball where you hear a coach. You certainly don't in football or baseball. So I just thought Tortorella last night, that little bit of insight while it was actually still 2-0, I thought that was a fantastic television set.
Well, and you have to realize the context of what that arena was like at that point. I mean, it's at a fever pitch, and that place was loud. And anybody who thinks that Carolina is not a great hockey market, it's a fantastic hockey market. As much as it pains me to say it, they're just annoying. It's an annoying team. It's an annoying franchise. Annoying fans. Sebastian Aho, I just want to see him disappear. I hate everything about Carolina, but they give them credit. What they did in the first period was incredible. They came out like they had all postseason, and Vegas just kept taking a punch. It was great. What a fun hockey game.
Forgive me if you guys talked about this yesterday, Seth, because you filled in, of
Spider-Man.
course, for all 4 hours. There you go. Well played. But Mark and I talked a little bit earlier in the show about the Stanley Cup Finals and the TV ratings that they're trying to get and trying to come close to the NBA. Do you see that happening? Do you think there's a way for that to happen?
I don't think there's it's a fair apples to apples comparison. I know that they both take place around this time, but I don't think they're connected. I think that what hockey has is its base, and hockey continues to show growth, but hockey's not trying to compete with the NBA. The league that's trying to compete with the NBA is the NFL, because what the NFL did, as soon as Amazon and the NBA signed their deal, the NFL immediately was like, well, we have to renegotiate. Hockey didn't do that. As a matter of fact, hockey took a lot of their leverage out yesterday. In Gary Bettman's press conference, he said basically he's already had preliminary discussions with both Disney and Warner Brothers about maintaining the relationship that they have. They're not looking for that. So I just don't think that the NBA and the NHL compares. Now, what I have always said about the NBA is I just want that league to be better. I get that people love it, and I get that people are excited, and my whole building is gaga for the stupid Knicks. And that's fine. What I saw in that the Oklahoma City artist formerly known as Supersonic series against the Spurs, 5 of those games were 30-point blowouts. Mm-hmm. Be better.
Yeah,
look at the game that you saw last night and the emotion that went through last night. And if the NBA comes close to that, I will tip my cap.
If the NBA comes close to that, we're going to see numbers like we've never seen in the NBA, because I think they're going to get astronomical numbers just because of the Knicks.
Being crap games.
But just because of the Knicks, and Wembanyama brings in other people because he's 7'4" and can shoot threes. I mean, he's an unbelievably unique human being.
A mutant.
Yeah, in what he can do. Seth, it is interesting that you went to Bettman's presser, because I want to talk about that. Not only did he,
it would have been far to drive. I watched it on TV.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's all right.
Wow. It's a little tough crowd here. So he did mention, trying to just redo. And this isn't the first time he said that. They already went back to both NBC and at that time TNT, which is now Warner Brothers, and basically just tried to get the same deal. Seth, do you think that right now hockey will be able to get the same packages that they had before, even with, I don't even care about a bump. A bump would be great, given the fact that the NBA cost ESPN so much money to keep them. They obviously have to keep the NFL. Now,
they added 2 other partners in Amazon and NBC, and I don't know that hockey's going to add another partner. However, this negotiation isn't really in full force, because the contract goes through 27-28 for the NHL, and the NHL realizes that the Paramount Warner Brothers merger is going to happen at that point. And Paramount was very big on spending head over heels for UFC and for other types of sporting events, a lot of NASCAR, a lot of the Champions League. We talked about that yesterday. I don't know that the new Paramount / Warner Brothers conglomeration, I don't know that they want the NHL. I don't know that they're going to do it. I mean, from a streaming standpoint, you're going to see HBO Max and Paramount Plus are going to merge. I mean, Superman and Landman are going to be in a crossover.
Well, is that okay? Here's the question then. Is that good or bad for the NHL? Because the NFL is always going to win. And NBC, because of the money that they spent on the NBA, there's a lot of talk that the NFL's pissed at NBC and may just shut them right out. So I just wonder, from the NHL standpoint, do you see this merger helping the NHL long term?
I don't think it'll have an impact one way or the other. I think they like the partnership that they have. But if it can't happen that way, they'll find somebody else, another dance partner. I fully expect the NHL to stay with ESPN and Disney. I think they're going to streamline, kind of like what baseball did with MLB.TV, putting that access through the ESPN app. I could see that happening with hockey. I could see hockey being more streamlined in terms of their regional networks, because don't forget the money that the NHL teams get from RSNs, the remaining teams, is minimal compared to what baseball gets or basketball gets. So I think hockey is going to be at a crossroads, but there are plenty of dance partners if they want. And I'm not worried about the overall viability of the NHL in this new landscape.
Seth, did you see that Scripps affiliates have gone dark on DirecTV?
Yeah.
In the midst of these finals, has that what can you tell us about that story? Fill me in, because I'm just now seeing that on X.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you should go off that app. It's a very toxic app.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What Blue Sky? Is that what you want me on, Seth?
Mine doesn't work.
That's all of this is.
No. I'm on TikTok all day. The idea. These cable deals are ridiculous. Scripps, they had something come down. I don't know if you saw, but Comcast, NBC dropped Fubo. So Fubo has all these sports. They can get all these sports access and the NFL Red Zone and all these different things, but you can't watch something on regular NBC. I had to ask my hot neighbor to loan me her YouTube TV password just to watch one of the Arsenal games. It's just these networks. One is missing this thing, and one is missing this thing. And all I say about that, with Scripps, if you lose access to ABC and you have the NBA Finals, you have 17 other options and get a 7-day free trial with one of the others, and you'll be fine.
Well, Seth,
it's not like when they lost cable and that was your only action.
A lot of the young broke people like myself, we get in these group chats with our buddies who love watching sports, and we each have one, and we pass the account around. But they're cracking down on that, so it's getting harder to find the loopholes, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it is. And I have your X account now on my screen, and I'm gonna report you.
Here's the question. Okay, you say the NHL will be fine. I don't disagree with you, Seth.
Yeah.
And I know this league and in the whole world of soccer doesn't matter. But I mean, MLS went right to Apple TV. I don't think that's worked. I mean,
no. They dropped the paywall, so they're showing that it hasn't worked without giving numbers. You're showing that. I just think that from an NHL standpoint, you're reporting growth in all facets, year over year over year over year, and the NHL has had a remarkable season. I think they were 98% capacity for their regular season as far as attendance. The NHL is doing fine. It's just a matter of people gauge these finals based on what the teams that are
linear television numbers.
But that's the same thing with the World Series. When it was the Texas Rangers and the Arizona Diamondbacks, it didn't do well as when it was the Yankees and the Dodgers. That's not a hockey problem. That's a sports problem.
Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. It's Hall of Justice this week, right?
You know it, baby. The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Ooh, I haven't seen it yet. Been out for about a week now, right?
Don't listen to the podcast because we spoil the heck out of it.
Okay.
Why can't he talk?
How much
grief, he talk?
How much grief do you get from fans of the Hall of Justice podcast when you tell them at the beginning that you're going to
Spoilers.
spoil the
Yeah.
movie,
Never.
and then you still, so they've learned, your audience has learned, don't listen until you watch.
Numbers, when we write don't listen to a podcast, that actually helps the numbers. More people download the podcast, and it helps the movie. So even if we eviscerate the movie, which we don't crush the movie. There's a lot about that movie I don't understand. And again, why can't Grogu talk?
Unfortunately, a lot of the Disney Star Wars projects have.
Yoda was 100 and was a Jedi Knight. Why can't this guy at 50 say Gaga?
Are they the exact same species? Do we know if they're the exact same species?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. He's a species. There's been 3 of these guys: Yoda, Yaddle, and Grogu.
Are any of them in Yoda's league? I mean, Yoda stood the test of time, right?
Well, he lived 900 years, but at 100, he was already a Jedi. This guy can barely do anything. He plays with a little metal ball.
Seth Everett apparently plays with TikTok. That's all we know for sure based on this interview. Miller and Moulton, Seth Everett, Hall of Justice Sports with Friends, and part-time co-host of the show. Seth, as always, thanks, buddy.
You got it, guys. Good to talk to you, and feel better, David.
Bud Elliott in 25 minutes on Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
The Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, Puck, that might be part of the reason. I don't think in this particular instance, though, he meant anything other than he's just messing with me. As these guys love to do. We know that. Had a long day yesterday. I wasn't complaining about it. I'm just explaining that I'm a little tired. Still working right now. I'm not a victim. Mark, you're not a Star Wars guy at all, are you?
Not one bit.
I think I knew that, but yeah.
Puck, I know you're thinking it's a Mustang, and I know you know what Seth's politics are. You have to trust me on this.
I addressed it.
His whole reason for hating X is that his doesn't work. He is he can't get anything to load. He used it a lot to promote his podcast. A lot. He's pissed because for whatever reason, his doesn't work anymore.
He's locked out, and he had a bunch of followers, and that's how he would push his content out there. I mean, that's the business we're in. You got to have an audience.
I mean, he's got 15,000 followers on the thing, okay? He needed it. You got to trust me on this.
Yeah, it's not political.
Wait a minute. Wait a god-blanking minute. VP of Legacy Sports Network? You're a vice president?
Yes. So I do more than just the podcast. That's what I was trying to tell you. I had meetings all day yesterday. I had a networking dinner late at night. It was a long day. That's all I'm saying. I'm not complaining. I'm not a victim. But I have more responsibilities.
A vice president? You're 20. A vice president?
I got an offer I couldn't refuse.
You got a title you don't deserve.
That's funny. I thought you knew that.
Six pack, I have no idea. Honestly, I don't know what we're doing next week. Trent, do you own a suit?
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
One suit. It's gray.
That's a good color. It's versatile. You can do a wedding and a funeral in the gray suit.
Yes, and that's the full suit. I have sport coats that are different colors. You know, you can kind of mix and match.
I don't even think I only own one suit. I have a gray suit as well.
Like
and after I lost that weight, I got it refitted, and now I'm fat again, and I don't fit into it. I need a new suit.
What do you need a suit for in Florida?
Weddings and funerals.
Weddings and funerals, yeah. Yeah, see, last weekend my buddy got married, and I wore a navy sport coat with gray pants. Like, you can get away with that now, too. So,
you went Lions colors.
Well, it was navy blue. It wasn't.
Do you have a Honolulu blue sport jacket? And if you don't, would you buy one?
I would. I just, A, don't have the money for it, and B, don't even know where to shop for it.
I wish I could dress like David Sampson with the sport jacket all the time.
Oh,
it doesn't look good on me. All right, here we go.
Pulls it off.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Hump Day edition. Trent Valley, fill it in for David. He'll be doing it the rest of the week. I'll let you know about Monday when I know about Monday, because right now I don't. I know I'm doing a show. I know there's going to be a best of 2 weeks from tomorrow. Or from Friday, rather. That I know for sure. And why? Because I need the day off. And the show doesn't run without me. There's no way to do it. So we'll have a best of on, what is that? I think that's the 20. No, that's not the 21st. It's the
18th?
The 19th, I believe.
The 19th. Okay. My math was off by one.
Friday the 19th, we will have a best of.
There you go.
Because Father's Day weekend is that weekend. And you would think that I'm leaving maybe to have a weekend for Father's Day. However, I'm not. My Father's Day weekend is being spent at a gymnastics camp that my daughter won. She was at a gymnastics meet, and you buy raffle tickets or whatever for different things, and she wins a free 3-day gymnastics camp. So far, that free camp cost me 3 nights in a nice hotel in the Tampa area. When I was explaining to my wife the other day, I said to her, you do know that that's Father's Day weekend, right? That we're going to be up there.
For your favorite sport, your favorite sport ever, Mark.
She said, it is? I said, yes, it is. She thought it was the next week. And I said, no, honey. Third Sunday in June's Father's Day. U.S. Open golf tournament. You know, the tournament I like to watch. You know what I'll be doing? I'll be at a gymnastics camp. And so
hey, well,
my wife,
at least it's not like your wife just went over your head and signed her up for it. Your daughter earned this.
come on, a free camp, my ass. We're going to a hotel. There's nothing free about this. Okay. This is costing me a ton. I'm not getting anything for Father's Day, and now it's costing me a ton of money.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to find the silver lining for you. It doesn't look like
no, there is a silver lining. But my wife said, "So what do you want for Father's Day weekend?" I said, "You know what I want to do? I want to go to Clearwater for the weekend. Wouldn't that be great? And go to a gymnastics camp." So no, we're staying on the beach, and I actually reached out to an old friend who runs the resort that we're staying at. I've known this guy since I was 15 years old, and I've not seen him in forever. And we were supposed to hook up when I was in Tampa for all that time, and it just never worked out. And so I booked the hotel and paid for it. I wasn't looking for any freebies. And you sent him a note and said, "Hey, sorry we couldn't hook up, but I just booked a room." And I asked for one thing. I said, "I think we're going to be able to get there early. Can I get an early check-in?" That's all I asked for, which he said, "No problem." And I found a suite for you. So we've gone from a regular room to a high-end room. So I did get a little something out of it. So I will actually not be attending one moment of the gymnastics camp. That will be my wife either going and staying or dropping the daughter off for the time she is there.
Well, there you go.
I will not participate in gymnastics camps. One, I'm not. It's very difficult because my daughter loves to play sports. She's a kid. She plays 3 sports. She plays softball, she plays soccer, and she's in gymnastics. She's pretty good at all of them. I wouldn't say she's great at any of them. Thank goodness she couldn't hear me because she'd get really upset right now. But I'm a realist with this stuff. And I love that she plays multiple sports. But I told her yesterday, because she works on gymnastics and soccer during the summer in the garage. She does some little drills with the soccer ball, and we've got more gymnastics crap than you know what to do with. So she was working on the beam yesterday. And I asked her how it went. She says, And I just looked at her. I said, I offer no help. None whatsoever. There's not a damn thing that I can help you with because I know nothing about this. I can't offer any advice. I can just say, try hard, honey. And that's difficult because not that I played soccer, but fundamentally, soccer and hockey are a little alike about trying to find open space. So I can at least explain why you need to move differently. Softball, I can help with. I can actually help on the fielding side. I was never a great hitter, so I don't try to help her with hitting. But mentally,
at least, hey, she told you, she said, I mean, she's honest about her performance. She's honest about how the training went, how the workout went. And it sounds like your daughter has her eyes on the prize, at least.
We'll see. We'll see. She's too young to have her eyes on the prize. We'll figure that out in a couple of years. But yeah, gymnastics camp for Father's Day. That's my big reward this year. Thanks, everybody. Miller and Moulton text line is open. Pelican Roofing of Florida text line 21,000. Bud Elliott coming up next segment to talk some college football. They have 3 players on the cover of the new college football game. And one of them is the kid from Miami, Tony. He's cover boy.
Malachi Tony. He's a speed demon.
He's the cover boy of the new EA Sports. Now, you're not a gamer, right? So you don't get fired up about this thing coming out.
I have an Xbox. I buy all the games when they come out. They're like $60 these days a piece, so it's ridiculous. But I do play them quite often. I'll play NBA 2K with Felipe, actually. We have a really fun time doing that. But some quick breaking news for you, Mark. This was just announced, and Paula put it in the Twitch chat room. Caleb Williams will grace the cover of Madden 27. Just announced.
All right.
Along these same lines.
By the way, the women's semis going on in the French Open, and Maya Chawalinka, I believe is how you say her name, and if I botched it, I don't care. She was a qualifier and just made her way to the semifinals. That's impressive. Anytime you get a story like that, I mean, that's basically the golfer for those of you that like the PGA Tour. That's qualifying for the Monday tournament and getting the top 10 finish. I mean, that is.
And when you're a young professional, this can sort of launch your career. I remember Coco Gauff's first time making a big name for herself as a young 15-year-old, at, I forget what tournament it was. Was it Wimbledon? Was it the U.S. Open? I
Might have been
forget.
I thought it was the U.S. Open.
Okay, so it was at the end of the season, but still, it was just like, oh, wow, okay. Look, she just punched right through. No one knew who she was before this, unless you religiously follow the sport. And now look what she's done. She's put together a pretty solid career. So hopefully that can be the case for this young lady at the French.
And Sabalenka up 1-0 in the other semi that's going on. She's the 1 seed. She's the only top seed left. Zurov on the men's side, he's a 2 seed. He plays in the quarters later today at Roland Garros. So that's just a little bit of an update. What's going on? Look, I know, it's sacrilege for you to have to talk positively about the Bears because you're a diehard Lions guy. But don't you think? All right, let me put as a question for you: Who has more pressure on them this year? Caleb Williams or the head coach? Because his job is to develop Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
And they made great strides last year, but they won a ton of close games. His completion percentage numbers were okay. The yardage was okay. It can be better.
Yeah.
So Ben Johnson or Caleb Williams, who has more pressure on them this year for the Bears?
Ben Johnson. And for all the reasons you laid out, and it's not by much, because I hear you, Caleb Williams definitely, even as a first overall pick, needs to continue to ascend. But let's not forget, as you pointed out, they brought Ben Johnson in to sort of mold him into an elite quarterback, and they think they have a Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson type of guy with that sort of skill set. So, yeah, there's pressure on Caleb Williams to live up to his end of the bargain, but Ben Johnson was brought in for that assignment. So I'd go 60% Ben Johnson, 40% Caleb.
And I'm buying stock in both of them for what it's worth. I think the pieces are there. I think their offensive weapons are really solid now. I mean, they drafted a 4-3 guy that can stretch the field so that they've already got 2 good receivers. I like where this team's heading. I like their roster. I know, David was higher on Green Bay than anybody in the division, although he did pick Detroit when push comes to shove to win the division. And I picked the Bears to repeat because he is not a Jordan Love guy. I know it's impossible for you to not pick the Lions. Who's a bigger threat, in your opinion, the Bears or the Packers in that division?
I still think it's the Bears until proven otherwise. I'll tip the cap and give the respect where it's due. Now, they did get to play that 4th place schedule, but they took advantage of it. And I'm with you. They got to roll it into this year now, and the pressure is on. But I think the Lions, David's a big schedule guy. So, of course, he looks at the Lions schedule as a 9-8 team from last year. Not a bad team by any means, just not quite what they were the season before.
College football talk on the other side. The best in the business to do it, Bud Elliott. He's next on Miller and Moulton. Go!
This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes
Your
alive.
roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Okay, Javier, I got to talk a little shop with you. I'm glad you're back. I hadn't seen you pop in a while. I know you're listening, but I got to make I got a question for you. I made a pork loin last night. I tried to do a stuffed pork loin and roll it. How long do you got to beat that thing to get it down to like a 1/4 inch? I butterflied it. I was fine. My knife skills are okay. I wouldn't call them great, but I'm comfortable in the kitchen. I was pounding that sucker down for a while. I was not making a ton of headway. Is there any trick to pounding down a pork loin to get it thin enough to get that roll where you got like the pinwheel type thing when you're stuffing it?
Does Bud still join on the stream?
I just texted him, so I'm hoping that that's the case.
I was just curious. I didn't know if he calls in now or whatnot.
He does both, to be honest.
Mark, are you excited at all for the World Cup?
I wish that I were, but I'm not.
You're not?
I'm very disappointed in the expansion of it because the groups seem pretty easy to figure out who's going to be good.
Yeah, watered down.
And that bums me out. I need a favor from you on Friday, Trent.
Yeah, what's up?
I just need you to get the last hour up for me. Can you do that?
Yes.
I got to run to Tampa after the show, so I want to get out of here as quickly as I can.
Gotcha.
Well, it was the pork loin, Javier, because it was on sale at Costco, and I got 10 pounds for like, I don't know, it was like $15, $16, like $1.60 a pound. I did 2 roasts and 10 chops. It was fantastic. You can't beat that with a stick. I'm a very frugal shopper, gang. It's how I can afford to go out to nice dinners.
Joseph, this is why I don't say these things, to avoid the snark.
It's true. He is a VP. It's a really good point.
It's a startup.
Bud, good morning.
What's going on, guys?
Not
What's up,
much. David is out this week, so Trent filling in. But I got the idea yesterday. I got on the treadmill after the show, and I'm literally a second song in, and I'm like, "Hey, has Bud started doing the summer school yet?"
Yeah.
And so I'm on the treadmill, and I just walk on the treadmill. I'm not a runner, so I'm doing my uphill walk, and I'm like, "Sure as hell has." I'm like, you know what? Let's listen to the Michigan podcast.
Nice, man.
I love them. They are, to me, it is a must listen to get ready for the season. You get great guests. They all know your stuff, and they know more about their team than you do.
Yeah.
I think they're a tremendous listen.
I mean, like, to me, it's how do you turn your prep into content?
Right.
Right, because you're
Yeah.
doing all the research anyways. So
Right.
then, yeah.
Yeah. And I found a way with AI to automate sending it to all of the other team sites and people in our network when an opponent comes out. So like 3 business days before the episode drops, they get a notification. Hey, one of the teams that you cover who they play is coming out, right? So
Okay.
we're in like a content desert over the summer. Drop 350 words, embed the link, boom, you check a content item off, like the flywheel spins, so
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Trent Valley filling in for David for the rest of the week. We are joined now by longtime guest of the show, one of the hosts of the Cover 3 podcast, college football's #1 podcast. He is Bud Elliott. You can follow him on X at Bud Elliott, 2 L's, 2 T's, and the number 3. Bud Elliott 3. Bud, good morning to you. Happy summer. How are you?
Doing well, man. Just ripping through these summer schools, and just got back from Elite 11 in Los Angeles. So got to see Miami's quarterback commit, and a couple other ones as well, Florida's. And it's been a busy summer. It's been good.
No doubt. No lack of stories in college football. I mean, the SEC meetings were crazy. Sark's taking shots at everybody. Texas Tech came back at them. College softball opens up their World Series, and we'd much rather see this as a football game, not as a softball game. Yeah. But I thought the big news yesterday I wanted to start with, Bud, is the SEC and the Big Ten. I don't know if they're at odds, but, Sankey wants to keep it at 12 or 16. Petiti wants 24. There's not much right now they're agreeing on. They put out a joint statement against this legislative bill that's a bipartisan bill, and they didn't say, hey, we're not against Congress doing something. You don't go far enough. This doesn't take the states' rights away, which they put a lot of things into, so certain states can do things that others can't. I was a little surprised when the Big 12 and the ACC were for this, that the joint statement came out about the 2 conferences. Where are you?
So I wasn't surprised, and this is not trying to be like a know-it-all, but the SEC put out a white paper on this 10 weeks ago that basically was against certain things that did end up in this proposed bill. Most notably, the pooling of the rights, which is largely like a Cody Campbell issue, the Texas Tech billionaire oil guy who's very tight with Ted Cruz, and is kind of like a large reason why some of this bill got written. It seems like there's a lot of protectionism here for schools like a Washington State, right, who is obviously sentimental to Senator Cantwell. So yeah, I wasn't surprised that they oppose it. It's also a little bit poison-pilled in that, if a certain number of schools agree to pool their rights, then the SEC and Big 12 or Big 10 can't expand. Yeah, I don't know if this passes either, right? You have a couple senators in some of these states from the SEC, and a couple representatives as well, who kind of not to get political here, but if you actually want to figure out if the thing's going to pass or not, there's a lot of assumptions okay, all the Republicans vote for it and they'll get X number of Democrat senators or X number of Democrats in the House. But I don't know, man. LSU's against this, and Trump just primaried the sitting guy for Landis from Louisiana. This is kind of like one of Trump's pet issues. Do you think the guy who just got primaried out by Trump, who is an incumbent, is going to vote against LSU's interests? I kind of doubt that. So I would say this is not a super high chance to pass. It's not on Polymarket or Call Sheet right now, but if it was, I bet you it would be not 0, but less than 50.
Okay.
But I want to ask you, because one of the most recent summer schools that you did, which are fantastic, by the way, you can tell you put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that, was UCF. And you talked about Scott Frost. And for our Florida audience, I just want to ask you quickly, do you think he does have what it takes to, in fact, compete?
Yeah. So this is the first year UCF gets real rev share from the Big 12. And this was sort of an issue that Malzahn, when he's at radio, complained about here when he was there, right? And that's a real thing. UCF, I live here in Orlando, they have a really young alumni base that they don't yet have that alumni that has, matured and passed on and then, bequeathed a lot of money from their estate to UCF, like a lot of your bigger kind of legacy schools have. I like their skill guys a whole lot this year. That young receiving core for UCF is nasty. I think their offensive line should be fine. I don't know that I fully buy in that they're not going to have a big drop off in pass rush, but I think if you're Frost, like you want to play tempo, I think they're going to play a very aggressive style of defense, which probably is going to result in a lot of tackles for loss, sacks, 3 and outs, maybe some turnovers, and also some explosive scores allowed. But at least you're getting the ball back in the hands of your offense, which if Barnett, the quarterback they got from JMU, is healthy and can stay healthy, I think that they've got the schedule to do some things and return to a bowl and maybe be like a bowl +1, maybe win 7, right? Maybe you make a bowl comfortably before that final weekend, because they do have a nice schedule in the Big 12 to get that done. If he's not healthy, like if he can't last, then I think that could be tough. They took the guy from FIU. I've seen him a lot. I think that's a nice backup piece to have if he has to play a game or two. If he had to play a lot of games, that would be a real concern of mine.
All right. You mentioned Texas Tech a little bit just by their big donor. Sorsby's been in the news. I don't think he should be allowed to play. I don't think you can bet on your team in college football and win.
Otherwise, we're covering the WWE.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. All right. Let's just say we're right. And they may even say, yep, it's a mental health issue, but he can't play college football. I mean, I think both could actually be right. I don't necessarily buy into all of that, but both could be right. But let's just say he doesn't play. I know their quarterback was hurt and he's coming back, so don't know if he'll be back for game 1. But Sorsby was the better choice at quarterback. They're a playoff team with Sorsby, I think. Are they without him?
I think they're still a playoff team with as long as Hammond is healthy by the start of conference play. I think they're still fine. They still have a lot better players than everybody else in that league. They're kind of in that territory where, if you want to call BYU, Utah the next 2 best in that league, and I think Kansas State's maybe in that conversation, and certainly will be in the standings. If you look at Kansas State's schedule, I think they draw the bottom 5 from the league in conference play. So that's pretty helpful if you're looking at futures and whatnot. They're probably as good of a roster as Utah and BYU mashed together. Hammond killed Utah, by the way, last year. Because remember, they had what was the kid's name? Decent quarterback, not great. Oregon punked him in the down in Miami in the playoff game. Moulton, when Moulton went down early in the game against Utah, Hammond stepped in and destroyed Utah in Utah, which I think is the toughest place to play as far as home road adjustment in the sport. If you look at the data. As long as he's healthy, I think they're fine. Now, are they going to make noise in the playoff with Will Hammond? I kind of doubt it, but I still think they're the favorite for the league for sure.
Bud, Mark kind of mentioned that even if it is kind of a small thing in the big picture, that the Big Ten and the SEC are agreeing on something for once.
Yeah.
How much do you think the SEC envies the Big Ten right now as far as national championships? And do you think SEC gets back on track this season?
I mean, I think the SEC was still the deepest, but it is kind of stark to see Commissioner Sankey start to talk about near misses and how deep they are when they used to just beat their chest over actually winning the thing, right? And that
Yep.
That was kind of interesting. I don't know why this is, and this is very anecdotal. I haven't surveyed every single coach and GM in all the leagues, but when I talk to my friends who work at SEC schools and Big Ten schools, I don't hear about the same number of secret holdouts and guys really raising a fit over 20K. I guess what I'm trying to say is I almost feel like these Big Ten teams, the players almost care about winning more. There's a little bit less me. And I don't know how you quantify that. And I probably can't, but I do think that's a real thing. And so I'm curious if that's a real thing. And I think it is, but can't prove it. How does the SEC overcome that? How do you get these guys to play more as a team? I think the Big Ten has either solved that or they just haven't encountered that issue yet, so they haven't had to solve for that as much. And you can kind of speculate as to why that is. I really haven't thought about it a whole lot. But
Well, they haven't been paying guys as long, bud.
Yeah, that's probably true.
All right, but to go back,
that's definitely true, actually.
Now, Texas Tech's done something to me that part of the reasons they've worked, and I don't want to get more into Texas Tech, but they built the line of scrimmage on both sides.
Yeah.
Miami's done a lot of that because that's the way he's always recruited. When you look at the rest of the college football landscape, Indiana, they're a marvel in how they created what they've created.
Is there a team out there, Big Ten, SEC, ACC, Big 12, that could use the Texas Tech Miami model, build from the line of scrimmage, and take themselves from being a non-factor to being part of the equation again? And I don't know what school that is, but I would think that that's the model. I know Texas Tech's in the Big 12, but you've got to build in the trenches. They were smart and have done that, and that's why they're winning their conference.
Yeah, I mean, I think every school values building through the trenches, right? Like we know, like the high 4-star and the 5-star offensive linemen are actually really good investments in terms of like a return of on-field product and how that correlates to winning. I mean, Florida's doing it now. Florida's got like 4 really, really good high school offensive line commits coming in. But you know what? They kind of did that under Napier too. And I just didn't think Napier was a great coaching coach. You would talk to guys. We talked about it when he was hired, right? Great recruiter, but like Louisiana Lafayette has a lot more resources than most everybody else in the Sun Belt. And so you're kind of playing with a huge lead there. And they frequently would win games, but probably not by the margin you thought they should win. Oregon's been doing this. I think Oregon's the best team in college football entering the year. Like you have DeCorian, who I think is a first-round kid. You have Evan Stewart on the other side, who missed all of last year, but like so far the highlights coming out of practice and whatnot look amazing. So they might have a real 1-2 there at receiver. They think the tight ends going top 100. They probably had to spend like $8 million to keep the starting 4 defensive linemen from not choosing to go second or third round in the draft. And if you look at like the backups who left Oregon, they're all like starting on playoff contenders or teams that think that they got a real shot to make the playoff. And that's some signal to me, like, whoa, that's who they had behind these guys. And now you got a bunch of like 21, 22-year-old guys who are pros. They might just have the D-line this year that just eats everybody's lunch every snap. And then you get a pro quarterback, 2 pro receivers. They got offensive line questions because a lot of those kids are young, so we'll see kind of who rounds into form. But, man, if you get that many stops, and we know they've done a really good job scouting DBs, so it's a very pro argument, but they got a lot of like cost-controlled guys at DB at Oregon who are really young but really good. I think that they have the profile of the team that like could run away with it if somebody can.
Bud Elliott here on Miller and Moulton. You all know him and love him at this point. But I want to ask you, because you mentioned briefly at the beginning, Elite 11. Just talk about the quarterbacks that you saw, the quarterback play, and any takeaways you had. I just want to give you the floor there.
Yeah, we'll keep it Florida focused here. So Izzy Abrams, I thought looked really, really good. Committed to Miami, 6'3", like lanky guys that has some room to fill out. But I'm not saying that like the 2 guys that Miami just took in the prior 2 classes in Brady Nickel and Coleman, that they have no shot. But I do think that Abrams has like a meaningfully different amount of talent as far as like upside for them. And this was the first time I was like, oh, okay, Miami went and got a dude. And if I was Miami, it's like, I don't even know how to do this. Like, you have so much money. Just go get a super proven guy every year. And hell, throw another $1 million at like the best Sun Belt kid to come in and be your backup who's not going to go pro, but he'd like to cash a check before he has to go get a real job like the rest of us, right? But Abrams is really a kind of a next level talent for them. Not on like the Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence type piece. Like that's kind of a different level as a prospect. But like if you're a Miami fan, you should be really excited about Abrams, I think. And then Florida's kid, Davin Davidson, who's out of the Sarasota area, like that kid's a stud too, I think. A little more raw, but 6'6", 215, has like ball speeds in like the mid 60s, which for a high school kid is ridiculous with a football. Like those absolute lasers. And if they get in and develop him right, I think he's got like first round type upside. So Gators and Canes definitely killing it right now.
You did the Gators summer. You did both their summer schools already. Talk about the Gators. They're excited with this new coach. I like his attitude. I like how he's going about business. I like what he's saying that was bad about them. He's been very honest about his assessment of what he has. How good can it get quickly there?
Yeah, I think it could. If the offensive line comes together, I think that they could be really good this year. There were some early numbers for them to like win the Natty at like 100-1. I think that was kind of worth a shot. Back in like those got scooped up pretty hard in the market. Now they're like 40 or 30s. I mean, if that receiving core stays healthy, that's pretty nasty. Like Singleton, we know is good. Obviously, they got a couple young guys who, if they can actually stay healthy for once, I think have top half of the draft upside. They took a quarterback in Philo who played for the offensive coordinator at Georgia Tech, Buster Faulkner, and I think that's a great hire. And I like Summerall a lot. Like he won when he was at Troy. He won when he was at Tulane. He's won in different ways. he's kind of got that like must champion, like toughness thing going on, but he's not like a caveman as a head coach. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense.
Like his
Makes
players
total
play
sense.
hard for him. He relates to them, but like he doesn't do a bunch of really dumb stuff on Saturdays where you're like, bro, we're punting on 4th and 2 from the 37. Like math much? Like come on. So he's kind of like toughness, like that whole thing, inspiring, but like doesn't manage the game like a defensive coordinator.
Cover 3 podcast, summer school. You going to do every Power 4 team?
I think pretty much. We don't have a Cal site anymore because we had a guy covering like a bunch of different schools out there for us. So I think we don't have Cal, but I'll probably get high 60s. I think.
If you want to get ready for the college football season, not just your team, but as Bud was saying when we started, your opponents, to learn a little about them. And the first one I listened to is University of Michigan. Everybody knows what I think about Michigan, but I was fascinated to hear what they've got with the new coach. New coaches changes everything. The Summer School Series, Cover 3 podcast. He's Bud Elliott on X. Bud Elliott 3, 2 L's, 2 T's, and the number 3. Bud, as always, really appreciate your time.
Enjoyed it, guys. Be well.
We'll be doing it a lot during the football season, but a little touch of college football. We're less than 90 days away from week 0 here on Miller and Moulton.
Go! This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, Puck, I got to be honest. That's not a good take. Thank you, Joseph. Really appreciate it. You know what's fascinating about the college baseball super regionals is that they don't reseed. So however the bracket's set up, Like West Virginia, they're the 16 seed, but they won. They play Cal Poly. They didn't get, I think Georgia's the best team left because both the 1 and 2 got knocked out. But Georgia plays Mississippi State. They're the 14th ranked team. Troy gets Little Rock. Like someone out of Troy and Little Rock's going to Omaha. I mean, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 unranked teams win the region. It's only 20 hours, though, Joseph. I appreciate the 28, but it's only 20. I do not work on Saturdays and Sundays. It wasn't it, Javier? By the way, Javier, he kind of echoed what you said. That's or what you found out in your things. It's all, as we talk about a lot, it all ends up on that offensive line. I'm going to have to shut my door because I can hear my daughter's conversation from her bedroom.
Well, we can't, so as long as it isn't driving you crazy.
Unbelievable. And everything with people, and I don't know for those of you who have, younger kids with phones, but it's not phone calls. Everything is FaceTime. Every call. Uh-oh, Trent kind of froze on me there a little bit.
Oh, am I good now?
You're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. Couldn't come close to do the homeschooling thing. Every phone call is FaceTime, Tim. Every one. And they do group FaceTimes where there's like 6 of them in there at the same damn time.
Those are fun. My brothers and I do that all the time. So convenient.
And in order, apparently, to get my daughter to do anything around the house, I figured out there has to be a list. If I just tell her to do A, B, and C, it doesn't get done. If there's a list written down, she does do the list. That's at least a good thing.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, the Pro Hour. Jacksonville and Tampa. Hello, and those of you that are listening via the Twitch or YouTube app or in some of the places that our show is aired a little later, thanks for joining us this morning. Trent Bally filling in for David Moulton. David is off the rest of the week. We'll see what happens next week. But Trent, I have to, and this isn't even really a conversation I can have with you, but I will try. Because like Seth, I'm one of the old guys who's on TikTok way more than I should be. Now, it ends up giving me much more music and movie clips and things of that. I'm not watching the latest dance craze, nor do I care to. The app's smart enough to know the old guy's on, and the algorithm fits perfectly. But very rarely does Gen X get brought up by other generations. We're largely left alone. Gen X tries to say because they don't want to mess with us, and the rest of us say because the rest of them say they don't care about us. Either way, Gen Xers are really fine by that. We don't want to participate. If you look at Gen X, we're largely not involved in politics. We're not involved of much of anything. And Gen Xers would say it's because we're the latchkey kids. We've been having to take care of ourselves since we were 13. And in some cases, like mine, younger. I was thinking about it this morning. I went through some interesting times growing up, and my mother and father split up 3 or 4 times before they finally actually ended their relationship. I knew what was going on at like age 7 with my parents, and was told things by my mom that I would never tell a 7, 8, 9-year-old. That's fine. But
How old were you when you first stole the car? Not stole the car, but took your mom's car without permission, to be clear.
8th grade.
I would have been terrified.
So I think I was like 12 or 13 because I had a late birthday. It was Christmas. It was Christmas break. My parents were somewhere. My parents had a white Z28 Camaro, and I drove it over to my buddy's house, which was a pretty good distance away. And his brother and friend drove it home mainly because they were trying to play good big brother, but mainly because he wanted to drive the Camaro. I mean, let's really get down to it. He wanted to drive the car. But the latest argument, because I would say you, Trent, are, believe it or not, an unusual Gen Z, because apparently your generation doesn't drink alcohol. You are you consume the least amount of alcohol per person of any generation ever.
It's news to me.
I know that that's not you. I know that my son doesn't fit into that mold as well. But you're a more health conscious generation. You're drinking water. You're not going to the bars. You don't know how to talk to girls. All of these things we're aware of.
Right.
But apparently the latest argument between millennials and Gen Xers is who partied harder. And I didn't know that was even a thing. And yesterday I saw a video on it and I started laughing because we are the generation that told our parents, yeah, I'm spending the night at Chris's house, when you weren't spending the night at Chris's house because Chris's parents were home too. And he said he was spending the night at your house and you ended up in a cornfield somewhere drinking until 4 a.m. and sleeping there.
And that's why I won't even fight this fight. And I'm not going to jump in that camp and try to defend my generation because, Mark, part of the reason I love the music I do and love the old school stuff is because you guys did it better. You guys did it best.
So I found that argument fascinating, that it's really boiled down to the one argument that the millennials and Gen Xers have is who drank harder. And you're a Gen Z guy, so you don't really count. But I found that one fantastic. But I do like to hear, because you're a Michigan kid, and maybe we were just a little different, as am I. Maybe we're not like the rest of the country because, based on your, last weekend home with you. Now, it was a wedding, which is a little bit different. That's a big party weekend when one of your buddies is getting married. But it certainly seems to bode well for at least your part of your generation that you're picking up the slack that the rest of the Gen Zers are not, Trent.
Yeah, and sometimes that's not always the best thing. But you said it yourself. You're sneaking off to go to a cornfield. I mean, do they have cornfields on the East Coast? Do they have cornfields out west? No, not really. So maybe it is just a Midwest thing, but it was glorious.
There's no doubt. One of my buddies who listens to the show from Saginaw, Jim Spradlin, his grandparents had a farm, and it really, I don't even know if the farm was, it was a farmhouse out there. They didn't live there, and it was a good jaunt away from where we lived. And once a month, first his uncle, who was young, only 2 years older than me, he was like the youngest of the family. First, his uncle started it, and Dan would throw parties out there. And it was a bonfire, and you drove, middle of nowhere, because we knew we couldn't get in trouble. And then Jim kind of took over for his uncle, and Jim's a year younger than me. They were very close in age, because I think his dad was the oldest of many. But that was just where we went. You went out to the farm. Where are we going? To the farm. Why? Because we can't get in trouble out there. And that was just the way that it was. But So I just found that interesting that the
And
only
by the way-
argument I've seen by millennials and Gen Xers is who partied harder.
I do think that our generation, my generation, almost envies yours, and that's why they push back so hard. It's a defense mechanism. We wish we could have just driven out to the cornfield and not had to worry about cops and that sort of thing. But
Well, that was the meme that I saw was because we did go drink and pass out in cornfields on Jungle Juice. It's the reason our kids have Life 360 and we follow them everywhere they go.
there you go. That's exactly what I'm talking about. We envy you guys.
So that just I saw that and it cracked me up as to what the arguments are between the gender. Because largely when I spend my time on TikTok, the millennials are all over the boomers. They don't like the boomers, and the boomers don't like them, and they just kind of leave the Gen X out of the picture.
Yep.
There was the one, why the kid that made the comment, why is the Gen X getting picked on? You drank out of the hose. I think he says you drank out of the hose. We're faucets not optional. And it's a great comment. And the lady that jumps on says, we weren't allowed in the house. I don't know what you don't seem to understand about that. We were a generation that basically on the weekends in the summer, we're told to go outside and you came home when it was dark out. That's just how we grew up. All right. Got to say, enjoyed the hell out of talking to Bud Elliott. And I would do it with him on the air. I'll do it without him. If you are a college football fan, whether it's your team or whether it's if you want to get into your conference, the summer school to me is a must listen. They're all about 30 minutes long. I learned a great trick from one of you about podcasts. I put it at 1.5 speed. So I get that 30 minutes done in about 20 minutes time. Rifled through one yesterday, and they're solid, and it just gives you a good little idea. And you UCF fan, I think you should be fired up. If he's saying a bowl, that was kind of our criteria. You got to start not only going to bowl games, you got to start winning a road game or two in the Big 12. You got to start beating a team that maybe you're not supposed to beat if you want to get to the next level, because you're not there yet. And the Gators, looks like things are going the right way. The Canes have it going on.
Florida's happening right now, Mark. All of Florida,
with the exception of Tallahassee.
I was just gonna say, with the exception of one school, and it might be, not the most passionate football program of.
I think Tallahassee's and Florida State fan, fight me on this. I'm fine with you fighting me on this. I think you're in worse shape than my alma mater, and I don't think it's close.
Ooh.
From a football standpoint, you might be a smidge ahead. But see, Michigan State, which sucks, already fired their coach. They got a $400 million donation that was not from Dan Gilbert and not from Ishbia. I mean, this was another source of money that gave the school cash. So not only that, they have Big Ten money. So I think that they can rectify the football program. Can it be at the top of the conference? Not a chance. They're lucky to be a once every 5-year team,
especially not with the playoff expanding too. I mean, that's the other key part.
Florida State, if they get their together, should be able to contend in the ACC every year. I get it, but they don't have any money. They don't have a direction, and I don't see when they're going to contend. So then you take the next two sports that each school cares about. And I'm not doing this to do a Michigan State thing, but to me, it shows you how bad Florida State is right now. So basketball's next. We'll see about Florida State. Love Michael Fly, comes on the show. He's the GM there. They think that they're moving in the right direction. Well, they're not where Sparty is, obviously. Okay, your third sport. At Florida State, it's baseball. At Michigan State, it's hockey. You got beat by St. John's. You didn't get out of your region that you hosted. I'm baffled by where Florida State is right now.
Yeah.
I am truly baffled by how bad it is for the Noles.
It's well put, and maybe it was jump-started by the 2023 season when I was down there with you guys, and they had that undefeated season but lost the quarterback at the end, and then going into the next year, they were ranked highly, and they finished, 1-9?
Yeah. And I didn't bring up Michigan State to talk about my alma mater. I'm saying you guys have sunk to that level. That's how bad you are. Because I think Michigan State sucks right now. They're going to be the worst team in the Big Ten in football, or second to worst. I mean, they might be better than Rutgers. And Florida State, what the hell? We know what happened.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the athletic director has survived. I don't know how the coach has survived. Get the money. Let's get to work, Seminoles. The world is a better place when Florida State's good at football.
Absolutely.
But I wonder how far UCF is from catching you. I mean, this can't keep going on.
Well,
You've got to fix this.
Real quickly, to stick with the parallel, when Michigan State's bad at basketball, there's an uproar because it's a proud program. Florida State sucks at football right now. There should be an uproar. And I don't know if there is enough of one to conjure up the money, Mark, if you know what I'm talking about.
Well, they've put it together so many times, and it worked for. They thought they had the right guy, Norvell. They had the one good year. It looks like they've got the wrong guy, and now financially they seem to be in a spot where they can't afford to get rid of him. This is where not being in the SEC and the Big Ten kills you.
Bingo.
You don't have that money coming in every year from the conference. And this is why this quite frankly is why Florida State was suing the ACC. They wanted a bigger slice of the pie. And now they've become a punching bag, and they're not at the point where they deserve that slice of the pie. And while this is all going on, the Miami Hurricanes played for the national title. Wow.
Same conference.
Miller and Moulton, the Pro Hour. Things are bad in Tallahassee. Thanks for listening.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I would not allow an honorary into my generation. I'm proud of my generation. And unless you lived through it, you are not part of it. There's no such thing as an honorary generation. No. 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 I tried to guess a generation. I don't care what your age is. Yeah, I just didn't know if you were Gen Z or millennial. That makes a big difference on how. I do think the generalizations of the generations hold true in a lot of ways. You can be an older soul. You can be a younger soul. Are you coming up? Come on, I want to do my Marlon Brando. Get up here. God, hear something. Trying to herd cats. It doesn't work. Come on. There we go. Give you a little airtime, cat. Oh. There's the cat. One of them. Oh, wow. Then your picture makes you look a lot younger than you are if you're neither of those, because that would mean you're my generation. And I don't buy that either. I think you're just flat out lying, Aurora. And that's fine too. You have to have some sort of mystery in this word.
Honorary Gen X.
No such thing.
You got a cat there?
Yeah, cat's on the lap. It's the girl cat. The boy cat would never come on my lap.
What's the girl cat's name again?
Sally.
Sally.
My wife has a Peanuts thing. Every one of her animals has been named after a Peanuts character.
Franklin.
All right. Red Dog, you're not in here, but I just had a little power surge where the power went off and my battery, the thing you told me to buy, the internet stayed up. That is fantastic. Way to go, Red Dog.
Thank goodness. Wow.
Because if it goes out, I've got a generator. I'm not worried about losing power. But the battery-operated surge protectors keeps me up when we get something.
Sure.
That was fantastic. I am so excited that just happened.
Well, now you know it works.
Exactly. And he made the smart move of telling me to get two because I had to hook one up to the modem, which is downstairs. I've just got a repeater up here or whatever. I don't know what they use. All I know is that my internet in my neighborhood is the best
working.
internet in the it's the best internet in the world. I got 500 up, 500 down. We've got fiber here. It's amazing. I'm able to load things in seconds.
Raquel Welch.
Smoking.
Not familiar.
Yeah, she's way before your time. She was one of the first big sex symbols in Hollywood. She was a beautiful woman.
Blonde or brunette?
Brunette, I believe.
Oh,
She's passed. She would be like 90 something now, right? Is she still alive? Is Raquel Welch still alive? I don't even know. Now I got to look. I got 25 seconds to do it.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Very pretty. She died in 2023.
Okay.
Hey, I've got an NFL question for you if you want to go there.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Well, it's not David Moulton. It's Mark Miller with Trent Bally this morning. David is off the rest of the week. Trent will be filling in. David was gonna miss the whole week, and I will give you a fun little David story because David has always done this, and he just assumes things. And he basically told Trent he might need him on Monday. He never told me. Trent texted me on Sunday night about the show, which was news to me because I would have prepared a little differently. Mainly, I would have been ready to have the starting five done. We joked about it on Monday because David took pictures of it and sent them to me. It's his handwriting
notes.
Yeah, handwritten notes that you can't read. So David just assumed that Trent was going to be able to do every show while he was gone. Trent on Monday says, I can't do Tuesdays. Tuesdays are bad, man. I can't do it. So I have I asked Seth, and Seth fortunately was able to fill in. So Trent's here for the rest of the week. But I don't think David asked you if you could do Tuesday. Did he?
Next Tuesday or
No, yesterday.
No, no. Well, actually, you know what? Yes. In case he's listening, he did say plan on Tuesday until I tell you otherwise. And then I didn't hear back from him. So I was technically planning on Tuesday, but that's when you and I got in touch and we figured things out.
So so this is on you then. You never told him Tuesdays don't work for you.
I told you, now we're really peeling back the curtain. I told you I could do Tuesday if I absolutely had to, but I prefer not to because I have a lot going on Tuesday.
Okay. You're a vice president now. Let's do better. Trent Valley, vice president of the Legacy Sports Legacy Media Network. I want to make sure I get it right.
Yeah, Legacy Sports and Entertainment Network. And
this is
the Detroit branch, soon to expand.
Legacy Sports Network. He is the vice president. I've never dealt. I was a vice president once. I got fired from that job like many others. But go ahead, Trent. You're the VP after all.
Well, I wanted to ask you a little NFL question because we've been talking this morning about Myles Garrett being dealt to the Rams. Still kind of a culture shock. Obviously, it happened on Monday, but it is the story. And I do find it fascinating, Mark, that while we have the NBA Finals tipping off tonight and the NHL Stanley Cup Final tipping off or puck dropping yesterday.
Facing off. I think we would go with facing off. If you're going to be a vice president, you need to work on these.
I should know these things. I just wouldn't because the Red Wings have been bad for so long. But my point is, despite all that, this Myles Garrett story is still driving things. And we talked about how the Rams acquiring Myles Garrett widens that gap between the Rams and the second best team in the NFC, which you and I both agree is the Philadelphia Eagles. Who's the biggest threat to the Eagles in that division, do you think? You've got Jaden Daniels coming back for Washington. You know the rest.
Well, that's a great question. I would say Dallas still, but it's hard to believe at all. But I think they're the most talented team. But I think Washington, to me, is the team to look out for. When I was asked who's going to make the turnaround, the Patriots last year, 4-3, they were, 4 wins, 5 wins the year before, turned around a double-digit loss team to 13-4. Who's the team that's most likely to do that? Now, Kansas City's your obvious choice because they did have double-digit losses.
Almost by default. They don't really count, it doesn't seem. Because
right, because by the way, they're favored to win their division. The odds on them winning the division are better than that of the Broncos. I think that's laughable. I think the Broncos roster is way better. I don't think it's close.
That's not the question. That's not the question. Who's going to win you games? Patrick Mahomes is going to win you games. I don't like it. I don't have to like it. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are going to win you more games than Bo Nix and Sean Payton. I'm sorry.
I'll take Denver right now.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to keep tabs on that.
The offensive line is not that good. Their receivers obviously aren't. I don't think Kenneth Walker makes that big of a difference. So we shall see. But who then, so I think Dallas, but I do think Washington is a team that has the biggest ability to make a huge turnaround. For the same reasons that I would say, the Chiefs are the obvious choice of double-digit loss teams. Well, Mahomes is back, but Jaden Daniels is back too, and I can't buy enough of his stock.
Could I throw another one at you?
Of course.
So a couple years ago, the Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams coming into his second season, they bring in Ben Johnson, completely turns it around. They win the division. Jackson Dart's second year, they bring in John Harbaugh. I'm not predicting this. I'm just saying, could they turn it around and be the Eagles' biggest threat to the throne in the NFC East, Mark?
Well, it's a great choice for this reason. If you look at all of the games that the Giants blew last year,
yes,
their close losses, the number of fourth quarter leads that they had, I do think that's I agree with you that it's a very fair team to look at. And I
don't necessarily even like them more than the Commanders. Like, I think you probably have it clocked. You've got the right answer. But to play devil's advocate in that same division, there's someone that eerily fits the same criteria as the Chicago Bears did a couple years ago. both with quarterback and coach.
I think the other question you could ask from that is that division more compact than it's been in a while? Now, I know there's been a lot of worst to first, but there's clearly been usually a best team in that division, and then the rest. So, the Eagles now, no A.J. Brown, new offensive coordinator. I still think the defense is really solid. I still think the offensive line is good, but not as good like Detroit. They've lost pieces of that offensive line over the last couple of years. They've lost pieces of that defense over the last couple of years. I still like their roster the best. I think it's the second best roster in the NFC. But are they going to go 5-1 in the division? I don't think so. If I were to say 5-1 or 3-3, what's more likely?
3-3, no doubt. That's a great question. And if we went down the list of like all the division favorites, I think you'd find a few that go 5-1, but 3-3 is always probably the safer bet, wouldn't you say?
But I just kind of pulled up the Giants schedule when you said that. They play the AFC South. And just a couple of years ago, we would have thought that's easy. That's the Colts. If Daniel Jones is healthy, remember they were 7-2, 8-2 before he got hurt.
Yes.
Jags were a double-digit win team. I don't think they'll be as good, but I still think they're a good team. Houston, double-digit win team. So that's not easy. And they finished their season, by the way, four of their last 5 are against what we think are better teams. At Seattle, then they're home for Cleveland. But at Detroit, at Dallas, home for Philadelphia to finish for the Giants. I could see them in a good spot and crumbling down the stretch. But I do think that division's very competitive this year. I worry, it's funny, we haven't brought up the NFC South at all because you didn't even need to win more games than you lost to win the division last year.
Right.
They're talking about Tua possibly having to start in Atlanta because you don't know where Penix is going to be. So, and obviously Tampa had some key losses on both key leaders on both sides of the ball. No Mike Evans. That's a big deal.
Oh, it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal because it's a completely different – whether or not Mike Adams' production has been there the last couple of years, which I know sounds crazy because he had his streak of 1,000-yard receiving seasons, it's still a different face. It's a different voice in the locker room, if you will. And for a team that has – like, Mark, we talked about how Atlanta's been flirting with that crown for a little while. So has, Carolina's on the ascent. And New Orleans now looks a lot better than they have in years past.
Well, they finished strong. They're a double-digit loss team. I mean, that's a team you could look at and say, do they win the division this year? Would anybody be shocked if any one of the 4 teams in the NFC South won the division? I'll pick Tampa. I think they're the best team, but Carolina obviously won it last year. Now they have to play a first-place schedule. I mean, that could be the difference in that division. It really could.
Yeah.
Because your opponents at the end of the day, just those little difference in opponents could be a big deal.
Of all the divisions, talking about how dense they are, the NFC South might take the cake.
Dense and dumb, or at least not good. Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Here's the question, Jay Noel. Is it going to be turned around when they fire him? Do they have the money? Seriously, do they have the money to compete? I mean, Ruiz went broke. His company's in upheaval, and Miami still finds the money. If Florida State had the money, he'd be gone. I'm convinced of it. And the AD should be gone too. This is a joke. I mean, Bud Elliott quit doing his podcast because oh, damn it. Our other guy quit doing his podcast because they don't care anymore. And I don't mean they, I mean their fan base. Not their fan base. That's the wrong way to say it. The school.
The support. I can't believe Mike Norvell's still the coach. All right, Mark, just because it's during the break, let me ask you honestly, you don't think Michigan State is in any sort of good shape at all?
No.
With Pat Fitzgerald? Because
No.
I like him a lot.
Yeah. I asked Bud off air. Bud hated the hire. Hated.
Okay. Well, I've also seen guys that love the hire. I trust Bud, though. I get it. I get why there's skepticism, but I saw what he could do at Northwestern. I mean, there's not a whole lot to sell there, if you know what I mean.
Right. And his point was, look at the last few years there. it went downhill.
Last few, but yeah, I mean, he was there from what, 2006 to. I mean, it's a bigger body of work, in my opinion.
He was very concerned with who the coordinators were going to be when I asked him. He's like, he better make great coordinator hires.
And that's fair. That's a fair point. Trust me, I'm not overly optimistic. The way you made it sound, it sounds like you don't think they're going to be any good at all. I think they could be.
I've seen things where they're rated as the worst team in the Big Ten this year. Worst.
Yeah.
That's with Rutgers in your conference.
With 18 teams, too. 18
And UCLA.
Yeah.
I don't even follow them anymore.
Well, I know it drives you nuts that they give all the money to Izzo.
And I love Tom, but he ain't winning another natty.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton wrapping things up on a hump day. Trent Valley sitting in, and I've done a hell of a job in the last 4 minutes during the commercial break, pissing off Trent as much as I piss off some listeners from time to time.
You're pretty good at that, Mark. That's your hidden talent.
I have been very negative about a couple of things with Trent, and he's not happy. I'm sending I'm sending the vice president off in a bad mood today.
But you don't piss me off. It's all a matter of opinion. I just am a little bit more passionate the other way. Maybe what's the word? I'm not as measured with my takes sometimes because my passion gets in the way. And that's what you and David have been working on me with for years. So I understand why you do it.
I can't help it. The truth sucks. It just does. I don't know what to tell you. I will tell you it's time now for...
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
All right. We go back to the 16th century. Hernando de Soto today in 1539 claims Florida for Spain. A year later, he would be the first European to cross the Appalachian Mountains. That's quite an accomplishment in 2 years. Claims Florida and then crosses the Appalachian Mountains. I mean, I think that's pretty impressive. For all of you Liverpool fans out there, and I don't mean fans of the Beatles, I mean fans of the football club, it was founded today in 1892. Goodyear's first advertising airship, you know, the blimp, later named Pilgrim, takes its first flight over Akron, Ohio, the first to fly using helium and the first to have an enclosed cabin today in 1925. Lou Gehrig today in 32 becomes the first to hit 4 consecutive home runs in an MLB game. He did so as the Yankees beat the Philadelphia Athletics 20-13.
So he was the first to do it. Do we know who the last person to do it was?
That's a great question. You've got a phone. Figure it out.
4 home runs in a row?
Well, it's been done. He's the first to do it. I do not know who the last.
That's why I'm curious, because it says he's the first to do it. So I'm sure the last guy to do it was someone shortly after that, because I've never heard of that.
Josh Gibson today in 37 hit a home run at Yankee Stadium that was 2 feet below the rim of the stadium. They measured it at a 580-foot drive. 580. Today in 43, a mob of 60 from the LA Naval Reserve Armory beats up everyone perceived to be Hispanic, starting the week-long Zoot Suit riots. Aretha's cover of Otis Redding's Respect hit number 1 today in 67. I got to think you had this read to you or read this book early in your reading life, Trent. The Very Hungry Caterpillar.
Eric Carle.
Published today in 1969.
There you go.
I love that book. One of my favorite music stories ever. And I like this band and I like this song. But today in 1970, Ray Davies of the Kinks flew round trip from New York to London to change one word in Lola. It was originally Coca-Cola. He had to change it to Cherry Cola because of the BBC's commercial reference ban. Round trip ticket, flew from New York to London, changed a word on a song, and flew back.
Gives you an idea how big the Kinks were.
Well, great band, and it just shows you the BBC's silliness. You couldn't say, I think Comachrome got the same thing because of the Kodak thing. Today in 77, Island Records releases the 9th studio album by Bob Marley and the Wailers, Exodus. It had Jammin', it had Waitin' in Vain, it had Three Little Birds, it had One Love. It was named the best album of the century by Time Magazine in 1999. Today in 1980, ESPN began televising the College World Series. I will never forget watching Miami run the trick play, hiding the ball play during a College World Series. Larry King Live debuted on CNN. Today in 1985, it would air all the way until December of 2010.
Wow.
2 things in 89, one good, one not so good. And by not so good, pretty horrible. Today was the beginning of the Tiananmen Square massacre as Chinese troops opened fire on the pro-democracy supporters in Beijing. And the second one today in 89, Vin Scully did 23 innings in 2 different cities in one day. He had a Dodgers broadcast and a national broadcast. One went extras. He flew from one to the other.
Is he the greatest, Mark? Is he the greatest?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think you start there, or everybody else is in a different league.
Agreed.
Today in 92, we talked about this because it was the end of the Arsenio show a few days ago, the final Arsenio show. Today in 92, Bill Clinton very well may have, this was his big break. He played the sax, did Heartbreak Hotel on the Arsenio show, turned the election around for Clinton. Pedro Martinez would have pitched a perfect game today in 95 if his team could have scored a run. He had a perfect game through 9. It was broken up in the 10th inning as San Diego's Bip Roberts led off with a double. Montreal would win the game 1-0. Kind of a one-hit wonder. She's had other songs, but none of them are really any good. New Zealand teenager Lorde releases Royals today in 2013. I do like that song.
I remember that. I was in 7th grade.
Succession on HBO debuted today in 2018, and Steph Curry on that same day breaks Ray Allen's record for most three-pointers in a final when he had 9 in the Game 2 win over the Cavs.
I remember where I was when that happened, and we were like, it's Game 2, and he broke the three-point record. That was insane.
All right, I don't think you're going to know who any of the dead people were today.
Let's try.
Josephine Baker.
Nope.
Actress and civil rights activist. Tony Curtis.
Sounds familiar, but no, couldn't tell you.
Actor. Some Like It Hot, I think was the big one. Allen Ginsberg.
No.
Kind of a poet in the counterculture generation. You might know this one. You should. Sam Mills.
Yes.
All right, Hall of Fame linebacker. All would have celebrated birthdays today. Let's go with the people that are still alive. Billy Cunningham's 83.
Knicks legend.
Knicks legend?
Or Sixers? Is it
there
Knicks?
You go. There you go.
There we go.
There you
My
go.
bad.
Hale Irwin's 81.
No.
Won a few U.S. Opens, 3 to be exact in golf. Barry Beck, 69. I wouldn't expect you to know who that is. He's a hockey player. He was a great New York Ranger. That's for David. Anderson Cooper, you do know who that is, right?
CNN.
59 years old today. And Rafael Nadal and Al Horford are both 40 today. Rafael Nadal, 22 majors, 14 French.
I was hoping you would get, I knew you'd get Rafa. I was hoping you'd throw Al Horford in there for my NBA folks because he's the pride of Grand Ledge, Michigan. 1 hour away from where I grew up.
So today was a day when this is I may have, if you're doing this, this is where I kind of throw it to David and say, what did I miss? You may have to start doing a little research unless you have something for me.
I don't have anything of what you missed, but what I have is the last time that someone hit 4 consecutive.
There you go. What do we got?
Scooter Gennett in 2017, second baseman for the Cincinnati Reds, but it's only happened 4 times in history. So there you go.
Okay. All right. Where's the damn button?
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What do you got, Mark?
Let's see. All right. For the good today, it's not just humans and Gen X drinkers that are led by their livers. Apparently, pigeons use their livers to navigate. A new study's been done. We know that pigeons can travel hundreds of miles in a single day. For years, they've carried notes and military messages, but it turns out it's because of their liver. Who knew? For the bad, we go to Collier County, where deputies were handling an accident when a crash that already involved 2 vehicles and injuries were reported. Numerous deputies, fire engines, and ambulances were on the scene when a silver Audi approached the crash scene at high speed. It would then drive through the crash scene, hit a marked patrol car with a deputy inside, and came close to hitting 2 other deputies who were directing traffic. The Collier County patrol vehicle had a lot of damage caused to it, and the guy just kept driving. He was pursued at speeds of up to 80 through a residential area. That's when he finally crashed, and Luke Sage, when being ordered to the ground, said no. He ran. He was tased after he ran several houses down the street while he was defecating all over himself.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Especially for the officers that had to put him in the car. And finally, the ugly, we'll go to Homestead, where a woman is facing 2 felony charges in connection with a road rage incident at Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. Amber Collier drove recklessly through the parking lot and went the wrong way through the line, almost hitting a victim. The victim drove to the stop sign and told her to drive more carefully. That caused the 32-year-old Amber to call her a rapist and a cracker and threaten to kill her.
Yikes.
She hit a pickup truck when she took off. That's when officers were called, and, well, they pursued her, finally pulled over, and she yelled a few things at the officers, including that she was going to kill them. She was taken back to jail because she had been arrested in early April. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, June the 3rd, brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. Offering great pay, signing bonuses, overtime, plenty of opportunities available, not just for new police officers, but other jobs. CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com.
We usually go what's on tap, and I will let Mark handle that, but I want to ask you first of all, because the NBA Finals do tip off tonight, Game 1. You have the Knicks in 6. Do you think the Spurs set the tone tonight, or do the Knicks steal one right off the bat?
Knicks steal one right off the bat. The
Really?
Knicks are going to win 1, 3, 4, and 6.
So you're not even worried about the point spread, 4.5, by the way.
No, I'm
in
taking the
favor
money
of
line
the
tonight.
Spurs. You're taking Knicks money line. Okay. I could see it one way or another, Mark. I think they're splitting both home and home, and then we'll go from there.
Baseball today, one Florida team trying to sweep, the other one trying not to get swept. Marlins on the road at 105 to take on the Nats. And Max Meyer, 5-0 record for the Marlins on the bump. Tigers and Rays, that's also an afternoon game in Tampa. The Rays have lost the first 2 of the series. White Sox and Twins this afternoon. Mets and Mariners this afternoon. Tonight, Padres and Phillies, Orioles, Red Sox, Guardians, and Yankees. Garrett Cole on the mound for the Yanks. Royals and Reds finish up their series. Blue Jays and Braves. Giants, Brewers, Rangers, Cardinals, A's and Cubs. Pirates and Astros. Rockies and Angels. And the Diamonds and the Diamondbacks or the Dodgers and the D-backs to finish off the schedule today in baseball. Sabalenka got beat.
She won
the first set 6-3, loses the second set 7-5, and gets donut in the third set. Lost 6-love to the 25th seeded Diana Schneider. So she will take on the qualifier. So just a crazy
talk about running
French
out of
Open.
gas. Running out of gas. I mean, that gives the Montreal Canadiens a run for their money.
Wow. Both 1 seeds out. Zverev's left. He's a 2 seed, but Djokovic got upset. I mean, both sides. This has been a very crazy French Open for those of you that are into your tennis.
And I told you this Monday, and you sort of tongue-in-cheek, I sort of tongue-in-cheek went back at you, but this is Zverev's chance to win a major. He hasn't won one yet. He's been at the top of the list for a while.
And Trent, may I remind you on Monday, you made a bet on the French Open.
Oh, I did. Francis
on
Tiafoe. I said it was a lock. I bet the house.
How did he do?
He lost.
I want everybody to know, you try to call Moulton mush. Trent's the only guy that can go through $50 in a FanDuel account betting $2 a game.
Quickly. In quick order as well.
Pat Kerwin to talk about all the things that have happened in the NFL tomorrow. We'll recap game 1 of the NBA Finals. Miller and Moulton, have a great day.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
No!
This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton